What it is! How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about expectations for 2023, and we want to wish you a happy new year. Hope you had a great time. Hope you kissed plenty of people, or kissed at least one person, or however you're kissing. The point is, grab that person, sit them down, and listen in as we talk about things we didn't like last year, things we did like last year, and of course things we're looking forward to this year. And we have a returning special guest as well. You can find out who that is when you sit back, relax, grab a snack, grab a beverage, and listen on in to the first ones to die.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ones to die. It is 2023. Woo! Yeah! And it is our first show of the year, and it is our annual tradition. We've done this. This is our third year in a row doing it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Third time? Wow, that's kind of amazing. It is our expectations for 2023 episode. We have our two regular co-hosts, Jerome and Alex, along with me, Jonathan. How y'all doing, Jerome, Alex?
I'm doing good. I almost got bit by my sister's dog today. So that was fun. It was fine. She gave me a little bruise. I broke up a doggy fight. But they don't actually, attack each other. They just kind of growl and, snap their teeth. But it was all fine. But that's been the excitement of my week. So, how about you, Jerome? How you doing?
Well, I'm chilling, doing good, getting ready for all these shows coming out and stuff in 2023. I'm excited, man. So I'm good, and glad to finally get a break. I've been busy all December, so January is where I finally get to rest. Hopefully,
Nice.
it's when I will hibernate and sleep.
We love it. And, of course, you know her, you love her. We have our returning special guest for these episodes, a staple now for our expectations episode.
Yeah, the unofficial fourth member of the podcast.
It is Jasmine. Jasmine, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, and I'm so excited to be back. Always love seeing y'all.
We love having you on here. It's also nice to have another woman with me, too.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
I know this
We
last
gotta
year,
get it
too.
even.
And it's
Gotta
so
get it a little even.
And it helps. Go on.
Well, it is our expectations episode, like I mentioned. Jerome,
What's
I feel like this episode is always like your bread and butter. Do you? How do we want to? We didn't talk beforehand about this, but do we want to take a look back first before we want to?
Well, we always take a look
forward?
back, and for those who don't know, if you're new to the podcast, we got new viewership going on or something. What we always do in our expectations episodes, we just basically take this to be both a look backwards at the things we enjoyed or didn't enjoy so much in 2022 or the previous year. When we do this next year, and then we take a moment to acknowledge the things we are looking forward to going into the new year for whatever reason.
Remember in 2020 when I said I was looking forward to Malcolm and Marie?
True. And now it's haunted you ever since that movie came out.
That grade went so far. The bar is on the floor for that movie now. You were just it's an A, and now it's just down there.
Or was that 2021?
That was 2020. No, that was 2020. Well, it was the 2021 expectations episode.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
Because it was filmed during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the first releases from movies that had been filmed during the pandemic with a smaller crew member and cast, and a lot of people commented
quarantined and stuff.
Yeah, how you could tell it was a limited crew members working on this because there was a lot more focal points than there were angles. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's all in one location too. But going into this new year, I guess I could go first. I do have a good chunk here, but I'm only going to go through the ones that really stuck it to my mind. And we're going to do the ones that met my expectations, met our expectations starting out. So firstly, you know what? I'm going to start with the one that was the biggest surprise for me because I didn't expect it to be good. Smile, the horror movie. I was legit. You want to talk about legit? Because my girlfriend was the one who was like, I want to really see Smile. And I was not planning on seeing it. I was just like, because to me, it looked like Truth or Dare. And you know why? Because Truth or Dare did that smile thing too. But Truth or Dare, it was CG. So it looked dumb. In Smile, people actually smile, which the girl who's all over the promotional material, she's the perfect person. I don't know where they found her, but she, like, her smile is creepy. She has the creepiest smile. But that movie is so good. It was thoroughly suspenseful. It was, it just did a great job with the pacing and the tension. And it's like, I still have nightmares of the way that movie ends when you get to see, like, the creature and you're just like, what the fuck is that? So I love Smile. I don't know if anybody else saw it.
I did. I liked it a lot as well.
I got bored.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. I really did want to like it because a lot of people really liked it. And I watched it and I was just kind of like, oh, okay. But I did enjoy the creepy smiles. They were done. And I think it's because people, it's creepy when you smile with all your teeth. And that's what those people were doing. When you use all your teeth, it's so creepy. So
and I like the concept too.
Yeah, it's a really good concept.
And I feel like they left it open for a sequel as well.
I really like a jump scare, actually. Like, I know that people are really over that in horror films, but like, I don't scare very easily, but it always, you know, stuff pops out. I'm definitely jumping. I didn't really like the ending. I feel like a lot of these horror films are falling apart in the third act, but that's a story for a different time.
I didn't like I will amend my state. I didn't like the way it ended because it was super predictable, but I did like the action, if that makes sense. Like, I loved when I got to see the creature and how it revealed itself and stuff. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But I will agree, the ending is definitely the weakest part of the movie. Not because it's just because it's like, I'm like, oh my God, that's the most for a movie that's been filled with surprises so far, it's weird that you ended the movie in the most normal way possible that every horror movie does in a way.
I feel like a lot of horror films lately have been trying to do the last survivor thing and then take it out from you from under the rug, like take the rug out from you. Where it's like, oh, look, you have hope. She will survive. And then they, kill him off in the end. But I'm like, oh, that would have been cool. But every horror film the past year or so has been doing that same thing. Where they have the moment where the last survivor is going to live. And then they just kind of.
Well, a lot of horror movies did that. Because Final Destination was the one that kind of made that. Brought it back, the first one.
Yeah.
Because it's every Final Destination, after a while, every ending was that person that saw the premonition, they died too at the end. The end.
Final Destination, I mean, they had a movie, which I rewatched. I think it was Final Destination 5, where they wrapped up everything and it led right back to that airplane.
Yeah, I thought that was cool, where they kind of loop it all back.
Yeah, it went all the way back, and it's oh, it's a new run. It's oh, this is actually pretty cool.
The only thing...
sequels have been,
The only thing I thought was dumb about Final Destination was them keeping the title. Because Final Destination is in reference to the fact that they were on a plane in the first one. So it's hey, you're at your final destination. That's terminology they use at airports. But they kept the title, but then it's okay, y'all, but then they're not leaving. And for a while, it was okay, well, at least, the second one, they're on the highway. So, okay, maybe they're not on a plane, but eventually their final destination is wherever they're going. But then the third one, they're on a roller coaster. They're not leaving anywhere. They're going to stay where they're at.
Nobody likes talking about the third one because they did this weird, oh, you can see the signs in photography. It was photos that told you.
It told them how they were going to die.
So it wasn't even premonitions. It was a weird feeling. And look at the photos.
Well, then it's Final Destination 4. They're at a NASCAR track. I'm there is no final destination. Y'all are at the destination right now.
There is a final destination for the cars, though.
I guess that's true.
When they cross the finish line.
That's true.
You just gotta
just think about it.
It's just hidden meanings.
There you go.
So that was so that's Smile. Also got a shout out because he's done such a great job, and I can't wait to see what he works on next. Atlanta season 4, killing it, kill it, perfect ending for that show. I am so happy that the show ended strong, just as it started strong. I just love Atlanta so much. I'm gonna miss it. I'm sad the show's over because it was such a good season. But now that's all out, if you haven't seen Atlanta, go to Hulu, watch all of Atlanta. I promise you will not be disappointed. It's just such a good show. And
I have a confession, y'all. That was actually going to be one of mine for like my favorites of the year. But I think I've been telling you guys, I've been meaning to watch Atlanta for like, when did it first come out? 2016?
Like a while
I think
ago.
so. I think 2016, 2017. Well, let's see.
Okay. Well, I started it for the first time, I think the first week of December this year. Like I'd never seen it.
Are you
I think I watched it in 4 days. It's been a very long time since I've
I'm
been.
just kidding. I've not seen an episode.
Neither have I actually.
Hey,
what's up, Alice?
We also got Alistair on the podcast as well, at least in person.
I'll mix his cameo. Yes, but it was fantastic. Yeah, 10 out of 10.
I think the humor, though, really lands if you know Black culture. Because there's a lot of jokes that will go right over your head if you know nothing about the Black community or Black culture at all. But it's still good, though. I still recommend it to anybody wanting to watch like what I would consider like a modern, funny sitcom. Is Atlanta. The Menu.
Oh, I've been dying to see that.
I think I might watch it this weekend.
It's so good. So good. It's so, I don't think the ending's strong. Personally, I get it thematically and it makes sense thematically, but I think it could have been a stronger ending. But overall, pretty solid movie. Everyone acting, great job. The premise is good. The comedy lands. It's a very neat dark comedy about foodie culture, which is a culture I'm not involved in at all. So it was neat to just kind of just sit back and just watch something. But it's just great satire. Can't recommend it enough. This is what Bodies should have been as far as the satire level.
I don't know. Bodies was like
it was. I mean, Bodies had pretty good satire, but the Menu just took it.
Honestly, I forgot about that movie, and I should have put it on my list.
I thought it was going to be on your list.
I listened to that episode. Could not believe the amount of slander.
No, I liked it.
Could not believe it.
Like,
no, you did. I remember. I was like, taste.
Thank you. You get it. Somebody who gets it. Give her a permanent seat, okay?
I liked it, a majority of it.
I admittedly, I thought it was okay. I'm not gonna renege on my statements. I thought it was okay, but I didn't think it was bad either. I was just making jokes, but yeah. Although Bodies is not on my Met list, so you know what is on my Met list, which is also a pleasant surprise: Bullet Train. I love that movie so much. I've watched it now like 3 times. Since I watched it in theaters. I love that film to death. It's just, I love movies like that with like the ensemble cast, the constant characters, the colors, like the cinematography. There's a lot of ridiculous stuff in it, but you know what? That's okay. Sometimes I just want to watch a movie that's a cartoon. that's what Bullet Train is at times.
It does feel cartoonish, yeah.
I'll give it a shot, but like, I feel like when I saw the previews, like y'all didn't feel like it looked like a Pepsi commercial.
No, although I didn't think it was a real movie for the longest time until I saw it, and I was like, but you know what it is? It's like it just doesn't take itself as seriously as far as the promotional material. They were like, we're not going to take it extremely seriously. This is a fun action movie. Come check it out. And I will once again say, if you like Smoking Aces, you will love Bullet Train because it's just Smoking Aces on a train.
I will say I didn't expect to like it at all because I'm not actually a big fan of like Brad Pitt in general, but like this movie was actually really well done. I enjoyed it a lot, and yeah, it is quite colorful and bright. But it's just a sense of like there's so many moving parts to this film that every time another piece is added, you're like, oh, that makes sense. It fits. They all fit well together. Nothing feels like it's clumped together. It's different parts and so many different parts, but nothing feels like it's been lumped together. It all has its place, and it ends up being like really well done.
Mm-hmm.
I still say they
Yeah.
did Bad Bunny dirty in that film. Did him so dirty in that movie.
I mean, at least he got more screen time than Zazie Beetz did.
yeah, but they took him out the way they took him out. That's not right.
We're getting spoilers.
Right.
I'm trying really
We're
hard
getting
not to.
spoilers.
Yeah, I mean that's a little bit of
Oh,
spoiler.
That
'cause
technically
he's-
is a
if
spoiler.
you just watch the
He
trailer, he's pretty
dies.
alive.
That's what I just heard. He dies.
I said they took him out. Maybe they walked him off the train.
Dude, Alex.
Oh, good
There's
lord.
no
Do
way.
you think we are imbeciles?
Off the bullet train.
Yeah, that's how he
They
gets
did.
taken out. He gets
Yeah.
no. She means he gets taken out on a date. You know, him and Brad Pitt had just great chemistry, and they're just like, you know what? Let's do this.
They
Next.
would have ugly children. What's your next movie? They would have ugly children.
I feel like those are two very attractive men. I feel like their babies wouldn't look pretty attractive.
Attractive people, when they tend to have children, their children tend to be ugly.
Really?
I don't know about that as a,
I've
like
seen
a
it more.
rule.
I've
It's
seen it more
happened,
times than
but
not.
that's not a rule.
I've seen it more times than not. Sadly.
That
Next,
baby is
Jonathan.
very cute.
Next,
Huh?
Jonathan. Who?
Rihanna's baby.
Oh yeah, that's
That
true.
baby is cute. That baby is cute. I'll say that
Mm.
much.
Jonathan, you'll love this one. I had to put this on the list mainly because it holds a special place in my heart, both for our podcast in general, but also just because I actually enjoyed the show. And is of course the legendary Netflix show, The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window.
I didn't realize that came out this year. Wow.
It did,
Mhm.
and because of it, we now have one of the best highlights of the entire podcast history, aka for those who don't know, male dog nipples. Hashtag male dog nipples. Get that, put that in the chat.
I blocked that out.
I got that yelled at me like 4 times on that podcast, each by both of you. And you
But
wonder
the-
I get so excited when there's another woman on the podcast with me.
Speaking of,
Hey,
Gibson cameo on the podcast. Everyone's
he
getting
came over
cameos.
right when you said that.
He was like, "Yeah, that's right, represent."
Lord.
But the show itself though was actually pretty solid. I really enjoyed it.
Mhm.
It was a pleasant surprise because I did not plan on watching it. I didn't even know it existed until we did it for the podcast. But it was a lot of fun. Kristen Bell is fantastic. Also, I want to know who her trainer is. She is out here fit. She's got like the 6-pack abs, everything. But it's just like all the jokes are great. I love the satire of those like Lifetime movies
Mhm.
that have that
Yeah.
exact same plot. So I was just like, up my alley. And I'll do one more, and then I'll just do honorable mentions just to go by real quick. The last one I'll mention by like actual name, The Sandman,
Yes.
from Neil Gaiman's Sandman, more specifically, also on Netflix. It was so good and accurate. It is damn near
You
accurate.
can
The
put
only
it up to the comic, and it's actually like scene by they did
It's one
amazingly.
for
That it's like a
one.
frame by frame almost.
The only part that's not accurate is because it doesn't take place in the DC universe. So certain characters like John Constantine doesn't appear, and the Doll's House story is slightly changed because they couldn't use the Golden Age Sandman from the DC comics for that story like they do in the comics. But other than that, the story is balls on accurate of the comic, and even the changes they made are respectful changes that still get the story across. So it's really solid. And I love the changes of representation too, because like the Corinthian gets a lot more, and he's gay. It's never a thing that's weird. It's just he's gay, whatever. Which I was like, I don't think I remember hearing any complaints about that, but I know that the Corinthian in the comic, the Corinthian in the comic doesn't have any sexuality. We don't see him like with anybody. So I was like, okay, cool. That's not a bad change, and it adds more character to the character, I think, in a way. So if you haven't seen it, watch The Sandman, especially because it's sad because it's canceled now. So there will be no more Sandman, unfortunately.
Wait, they canceled it
Um,
already? I believe that.
Mhm.
It was too good of a show.
I think it just didn't get the viewership they thought it was going to, which is sad because I was like, it's so good. It's so good. So yeah, so those are a few of mine honorable mentions. Just to burn through them. Woman King, fantastic. Love that film. The Batman, best Batman movie in a long time.
Mhm.
Loved Robert Pattinson as Batman. Glass Onion was fantastic. Glad I got to see it in theaters Thanksgiving weekend. So good. House of the Dragon, bringing back Game of Thrones, restoring the faith. And last one I'll mention, Andor. Oh, and Miss Marvel. Because, it's nice to see a Muslim American woman, well, teenager, but still Muslim American characters get representation in the superhero sphere. So good on you, Miss Marvel, for doing that.
Our special guest, Jasmine.
Me next.
Would you like to go
Okay.
next? Yes.
Sure.
What did you consume in 2022 2022 that you liked?
I think my favorite movie was probably Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
My list.
I totally
On my
forgot
list.
about
On
that
my
one.
list.
That was solid. It's so good.
Yes, I am hoping it gets all of the awards with our
Mhm.
very important award seasons coming
At
up.
the very least, Michelle Yeoh should get nominated and win.
I hope so. Give
Absolutely.
her flowers. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't really know anything about it. I just saw that it got really, really good reviews, and I was like, all right, I'll go. And we've been kind of, I think, bombarded with like multiverse stuff. So I do think that part of me, I wouldn't say I was like hesitant, but I was like, yeah, like I'll probably like it. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is incredible.
Mhm.
Cried so many tears.
Yes.
Why am I
It almost
crying
got-
tears at a rock?
It didn't get me the first time, but like the second time, because I had a couple friends that hadn't seen it. So I was like, I will take you. Let's go. So I saw it 3 times in theaters. And on that first time, I was pretty okay. But then the second and third, it almost teared up every time at the end. I was just like,
Man.
so sad.
Yeah.
I like
it
that you
was
mentioned the
great.
rock scene because that really did get me. Like
It made me laugh.
it made
so
me
much.
I was like, I shouldn't feel a twinge in my heart so like hard at these rocks when it starts to just like wiggle towards her. I was like, ugh, okay.
It was
alright.
good.
Yeah, it was awesome. Loved the costumes a
Mhm.
lot of, oh gosh, what is the villain's name?
Uh,
Oh,
Jobu
you mean the
Tabaki?
daughter? Like
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's their villain name, but I forget what her normal name is.
like her acting, her like real name in real life is Stephanie something.
I don't.
She was awesome.
She
Yeah.
was really good. Her on online a couple weeks ago, or maybe it's been like a month ago or whatever. Recently, her audition tape went like viral online. Maybe it was just in like the actor
Ooh.
sphere, but
Ooh.
Yeah, I
it-
haven't seen it yet. I saw it was like everybody is looking at
yeah,
it.
and it's just like this is an audition. This is how you nail an audition, and it was just so good. And it was basically like exactly what she did in the movie. And it's like if you're doing that in the audition, it's like
She's a
you're
star.
golden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see her in other things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We already talked about Atlanta. I will say, have y'all watched the movie Watcher?
Oh, I was thinking of
No.
the Netflix series.
Yes, there's the Netflix series The Watcher, and then there is Watcher. I watched it on Shudder. It's kind of it's a slow burn of a film. It's about this girl who moves to Croatia, I think, somewhere in Europe, and she's like very, very isolated, doesn't speak the language. She moves there with her mans, and she's convinced that this guy is watching her from the apartment across the street. She like sees his silhouette, and I love a slow burn horror film. Like I'm a sucker. I'm gonna kind of skip ahead a little bit. So I was not impressed with the movie Men. I had
I
such
need
high
to
hopes
see
for
it.
I
it.
heard rough things about it because I was excited to see it, and then I saw a lot of reviews that were like, it's actually not as interesting as we thought it was going to be.
I thought it
Loved
would.
the performances. Incredible. Incredible performances. But I think that it's very difficult for like what I think Watcher nailed so well is that it was a female director. And I think that's like what helped it. I think it's like what men tried to do. Men tried to be like, yeah, like this guy is scary and this woman is scared by this man, but it was directed by a guy. And I just don't think he captured that very well. Where Watcher, I was like, girl, get out. Why are all these people gaslighting you? You need to leave. Come on, go back to America, go somewhere. Like this man is scary.
Yeah.
He's creepy. So I really, really liked that one. I would say that those are my biggest things. I had a lot of not favorite movies. I was gonna say bodies, but again, I don't want to deal with the slander right now.
I mean, if you liked it, what did you like about bodies?
I didn't hate it. I did like it. I did enjoy it. I thought it was a little
I'm not
on
gonna,
the nose though.
Trash on bodies when you're like, yeah, I'm excited about bodies. Just gonna come behind you like, and also it's garbage. And let me tell you why.
That's all right, Jasmine. We'll take them on together. I'll mention it for you in my section.
I really liked it. I thought it was very fun. I saw it in theaters, which I think really added to the experience because everyone else was really into it. Mm-hmm. So that made me really into it. My only pet peeve, and it's not just horror that does this. Like back when I was watching Game of Thrones, they did this way too often. Why is everything dark? I know y'all know lighting.
Yes, that was my complaint.
Why is everything dark?
Like,
this drives me nuts.
Candle? Y'all ain't got battery powered lights. It's the modern era. Everyone's using their cell phones.
Like we've all seen movies. I think of The Two Towers, Lord of the Rings. Every time I think about this, that movie, like their battle scene takes place at night. I can see everything clearly.
Yeah.
So I know it's possible. True. So you can still make it appear dark in a place. I'm looking at you, Game of Thrones. And there be lighting. It's just frustrating. Why am I looking at this little flame? Sometimes not even that. You're just hearing stuff. I'm like, I could watch this with my eyes closed, I guess. What's the point? Just tell me when I need to close my eyes.
That's how I felt about the Batman in certain scenes too, where I was like, God damn, turn on a light. Like, it is dark in here.
But
I know
the one
Gotham's
scene,
supposed to be dark, but it's like sometimes it worked to its advantage when he like comes out the shadows. But there are times where I was like, okay, I can see Batman. So it's not like you're trying to hide him. Just turn up the saturation a little bit so I can see the rest of the scene.
Yeah, that scene where he's in full Batman and I can't remember what he's doing, but he's walking and the only light you see is when they're shooting their guns and it's like bouncing off of him. Yeah, that was a great scene.
That was really
that was a good way to do darkness. But if they were shooting and I couldn't see anything, it loses its effect.
Right.
I'm getting into things that bothered me. I thought Batman was great though. I agree with you. I think like one of the best Batman films like in a very, very long time. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm done for now. I'm done for now. I want to hear everyone else's.
Alex.
Well, right off the bat for me, it is the Batman. Because I don't like Batman. I didn't want to go in liking that film. I have a whole thing with Batman. I ended up fucking loving it.
You were forced to like it.
I ended up enjoying it so much. It was far better than I thought it would be. You're right. There were scenes that was alright. The only complaint I really had was that fight scene with the strobe lights because of my photosensitivity. Yeah. It's about like halfway through. There's just a fight scene and it's in the club and it's all these strobe lights going off. Strobe lights can trigger a severe migraine for me. So I had to like put my hands in front of my eyes and have Jerome be like, all right, it's over. But the rest of it was pretty good. The dialogue was good. Although right off the bat, when he's like, I am the darkness. Yeah. It was like the way I don't know if he said it or presented it or I don't know, but I could not stop laughing. Line. Yeah, but
I am the shadows. I think I'm hiding in the shadows. I am the shadows.
The rest of his dialogue was good, but just that first few sentences was like, you sound ridiculous. I don't know what version of Batman you were trying to emulate.
I mean, that is Batman in the comics. He is that theatrical.
Is Batman just trying to be Batman?
Especially Kevin Conroy Batman. Like, that speech is still like, if you're a 90s kid that watched cartoons back in the day, you know that speech by heart where I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. Like, that's Batman.
Another movie that I really love this year that went above my expectations was Nope.
Mm-hmm.
That movie
Nope was great.
Was so good. Um, just everything. There was that scene where he's just in the truck as the thing's flying above him, and it was super funny because I looked at my sister and I was like, "Nope," and she's like, "Nope," and as right as after we said it, he said it. I was like, "Oh yeah, all right, I get." You kind of that moment you feel like you're part of that movie where you're like, "Yeah, I get why he's saying everything he's saying." Um, I loved the whole movie was just really good and how everything was structured, and the alien when it finally revealed itself was so cool looking and was not an alien that was
digestion
commonly seen.
scene
Yeah.
was,
Oh, them going up the tube.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
that was
I
cool.
was a little not a little surprised, but I was surprised that they showed that because usually they'll show like
They
maybe a
won't be
decent
as explicit with it. Like
yeah, like
it'll
usually
be
it's like,
more
oh,
like
you see them like kind of just swallowing, or maybe you see like the scary teeth, but that was like a straight up like
Mhm.
esophagus going, and you were like, oh, that's clearly they're being swallowed. There's no other indication, there's no other path you can really draw too much from that. It's they're being eaten alive.
yeah.
The sound was great for that film.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
Oh yeah,
Really good.
I
Really
loved
good.
when they did the distant screams because it gave you chills.
Mm.
Well, because
Mhm.
at first you don't
Something.
know what it is, and then once you find out what it is, you're like, "Oh my god, this only adds more questions." Like, who was the first group he ate, and like all this other stuff. Like, it adds so much mystery to the movie that wasn't there before. And it makes you want to watch it again just to catch stuff you didn't catch the first time.
Yeah.
It's also really creepy to think that when the guy from Fry's comes and he's staring at the cloud and he's like, oh, that's been there forever. To think that this thing was just kind of posted there watching them
Yeah.
for months is really
Mhm.
creepy. It's like so simple, but and even just the fact that it's not a spaceship, it's an alien.
That I
Right.
think is
It's
the
so
coolest
creepy.
thing for me, because I thought for sure when that trailer came out and we actually got to see it,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, well, that's kind of lame. I was hoping they weren't going to reveal the surprise. And then Jordan Peele came out and was like, for those of you who think we spoiled the movie off the trailer, I'm telling you right now, you don't know what's going on. And I was
It's
like,
Jordan. He knows what
Yeah.
he's doing.
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then when I
no, like,
watched the
so
movie,
much
I was like,
respect him.
damn, he wasn't lying. Like, I really, like, that took me by surprise. I did not expect that.
When I saw that, when he did the cloud thing, it reminded me of Terry Pratchett. And what a line in it is, I think it's the Wide Sisters, where he's like, the thing that's trying to make itself look like another thing often looks more like that thing than the original thing does. And that just reminded me of that cloud, because the cloud was trying so hard to look like another cloud that it did look like a cloud until finally you realize that's not a cloud and it doesn't look like a cloud. It's far too dense for especially around the other clouds. And it's just, yeah, remember that. The thing that tries to look like another thing will always look more like the thing than the original thing. Glass Onion was another favorite that I didn't expect to
Yeah.
love as much as I just actually watched it today.
So I haven't seen it.
Oh man.
No
I've been
spoilers.
meaning to.
Yeah, I
I'm going
almost
to.
accidentally
It's-
spoiled who it was for my girlfriend, and luckily
You
I
would.
filtered her off. No.
Oh.
In that I gendered the person, and so she's like, "Oh, so it's this gender, got it." And I was like, "Oh shoot, well, there's still plenty of surprises."
Well, you don't. I won't even say nothing.
Don't
But
start.
you're what you think going in is not what it seems to be.
But
Anyway.
this
sure.
movie is also so much fun because just like with Knives Out, this time going into the film, there are clues stacked everywhere. So you get a little more fun watching into this movie because you're like, the clues are there. I have to just figure it out. They're somewhere. So you're watching this movie with this like new filter on, because you know that the clues are there and that you can spot them.
Mhm.
The answer's given to you ahead of time, but you still have to like follow along. And then there's a lot of times me and my sister were like playing this game and be like, oh, it has to be this person because of this reason. And she's like, that's a good point. But I'm like, but it doesn't make sense because they would know this secret, wouldn't they? She's like, I don't know. So
Mhm.
it was not only a good movie, but it was like fun to play along with. And Daniel Craig, his Bonnet Blanc is just the most
Benoit
fun
Blanc,
character.
yes.
Benoit Blanc. His character is just so much fucking fun. and
Mhm.
elaborate.
That
And
accent.
yeah,
I know.
I
I was
love it.
in the first Knives Out. I was kind of like, Daniel Craig, is that the best you could do? But then,
He was
then in
sad.
this
It
one,
definitely,
then
you
in
could
this one,
tell
I
he was
was,
trying something in the first movie. This one, he's perfected it.
uh
You know
huh.
what
Oh
I
yeah,
mean?
this one was like
Um,
pure like you sir.
especially
Sound
just
lovely.
when when that one line where you're like Halle Berry. I was just like Halle Berry. More people need to say that woman's name as like as a response to being shocked. Like Halle Berry. Jesus Christ.
No, but yeah, it was such a good movie. And I also recently watched Violent Nights.
Oh, I wanted to see that
Oh, see, I want to
too.
see
How
that.
I
was
do want to
it?
see that.
It is surprisingly good. I was not prepared to like it as much as I did. And David Harbour totally fits the song of Big Boys, by the way. Just saying. That man.
You know what?
Yeah.
That reminded me that should have been on my list. It's new SZA album. Fire. Love SOS.
Well, that's
so much.
that's
Not
not
all
from her album, though,
not
but
yeah.
Right.
That's
I
from
know
Just
it's not on her
Album.
album, but it just reminded me of SZA that she released her album. Although I will
Like
say
every single song
I don't
is-
love every song on that album, but
Well, it's
majority.
800 songs. There's 800 songs from the album, so you're bound to not like one. So.
Well, it's just there's one in particular where she does like a pop punk thing, and I'm like, I'm sorry, SZA, you ain't Beyonce, okay? Beyonce can do any genre and make it her own. This
And
ain't your
Beyonce's
vibe.
album was great.
Beyonce's album was dope too. Renaissance was great. I'm
Mm.
still processing Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Every time I listen to it, I find something new to appreciate about it. But I still wouldn't say it's my favorite Kendrick Lamar album. I don't think anything will beat T-Pab for me. Like To Pimp a Butterfly is just one of my favorite albums of all time. But it was pretty good though. I did enjoy it. It's just one of those things where I'm like, I feel like I'm still peeling back layers on that album.
But yeah, those were the ones that I was enjoyed the most, at least for this year. That I did not expect to enjoy as much as I did, and then coming out, I was like, I love all this. This was great. And yeah, I recommend seeing Violent Night. It was entertaining. It was really good. There were some like low points, of course, when like everybody's trying to just talk and figure things out, and it's like, okay, let's go back to the action though. The action's fun. So, but it's a great holiday film. I think everybody
How
should
dare
watch
you have
together.
plot in this action movie?
How dare you talk about this? Go back to David Harper removing his Santa suit. See that scene again.
Got David Harbour now. Every Expectations episode, there's a new man. First it was Jason Momoa, then it was Keanu Reeves. Now we're on.
Keanu Reeves is a man I would marry. Keanu Reeves is a man I would marry. Respectfully. Jason Momoa, I would just climb like a tree. I don't really want much from a relationship with him. David Harbour, however, though, and I do apologize ahead to my mother who's now listening to this podcast at this time.
Just remember.
Just remember she does listen to this. David Harbour, like, he is like got these strong arms with soft stomach. That's the type of man you want to hug, that you can cuddle with. That's the big
Now I
boy
got the song stuck in my head.
right? That's the kind of man you're like, oh yeah, I'll be warm all winter long. What about you, Jonathan? What's going on for you in 2022?
On that note, okay, so some of mine have been mentioned already. Nope, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I loved that. Similar to you, Jasmine, I went in not knowing much about it. I knew that it had to do with like the multiverse and stuff, but I had just heard great things about it and decided to watch it, and I was glad I did. Bodies as well. I will give it its proper credit because I loved it and it was very funny and I was into it the whole way through. And I also had a good crowd when I watched it as well, which made it a lot more fun. Shout out to AMC as well, because I got swooped into the possible cult, maybe, that is the AMC Stubbs holder pass.
Listen, my girlfriend has it now, and now she's trying to convince me to get it too. Which
Oh,
I'm not
man.
gonna lie, I see her point. Like it might be worth it. We see a lot of movies.
Exactly. Yes.
I
And
told you
it's
I
so
got the Regal one.
yes, it's much more cost effective, and it encourages you to go to the movies more. Plus, you can watch movies that you might not have necessarily paid to see on its own, because you have 3 a week. You're like, oh, I might as well see this movie. So shout out to AMC or Regal, wherever you get your passes from. I don't work for any of these; they ain't paying me. So,
That's the Keke Palmer movie. There's no promotional money coming.
One that I'm surprised nobody has mentioned yet is Barbarian, because I enjoyed.
I was going to say that, but I was
Oh.
saving it to see. Like I was like, I got to be on somebody's list, so I'm not gonna say it there. But if no one mentions it, I will be like, why don't we talk about Barbarian?
I really enjoyed Barbarian. Another one I had heard nothing about, and I think that's the best way to watch it going into it. Know nothing about it, and then
It is
just watch
streaming
it.
now on HBO Max.
Yes.
I went in
Everyone.
cold, and then me and my girlfriend watched it on the couch, and I made sure she kept winning cold. She kept asking questions. I'm like, I'm just gonna let you watch this movie.
That was a good one. So I suggest it's on HBO Max. Go ahead and watch it. It was really fun.
That's what I thought of, Jasmine, when you were talking about about Watcher, when you said like that men didn't really meet those expectations based off of just the directing, and I was like, Barbarian feels like that, where that was also the perfect balance of like, because you, especially the way the movie begins, you don't know what to think. Kind of asking questions the entire time, and then like the twist happens, and you're like, oh shoot, I was wrong.
Yeah, the
Or I was
direction
right,
was
depending on who you
great
were.
because you easily could have not made it that cool.
Yeah.
Like the concept really, I was like, y'all are raving about that? Like, come on. It sounds like it's been done.
It sounds right. It sounds like one of those that has been done before. Somebody stays in an Airbnb and it's like not what it seems.
Mhm.
Although I still am curious.
Company is crashing now.
I still am wondering though what the heck the title has to do with anything. I'm still trying
because it's on Barbary
Barbarian
Street. Isn't that why it's called Barbarian?
That the reason?
Yeah, I think so, because it's Barbary Street. Okay. When they said that, I was like, oh, that's why it's called the Barbarian. It's called Barbarian because it's Barbary Street.
Continue.
My assumption was just that like they were kept like that. The whole situation with the family is very just barbaric.
That
was my assumption
too.
I think it's a double meaning.
Longest time. Yeah,
it could be.
Either way, good movie. Watch it. Like if you're into horror films, anyway, because it is a horror movie. But good film.
Jonathan's right. The movie primarily takes on Barbary Street, which is why it's called The Barbarian.
Oh, okay.
So Jonathan is correct. That's a weird thing. Okay.
I think that's fun. I like it.
Yeah. So that was great. Also, Euphoria season 2. It feels like it came out like last year or 2 years ago, but came out this year, and I enjoyed it.
Funny enough, it's on, and it's not that I didn't like it, but it is on my didn't quite meet my expectations list because I felt like visually it met the challenge. Story-wise, not so much. Like for Rue and Nate, yes. Everybody else, and I guess Cassie too, in a way, but at the same time, they just assassinated her character. But everybody else, they barely get any screen time, and when they do, they don't really do much. They're kind of just around, and it's like it's like I can't remember the dude's name anymore who does Euphoria. Sam Levinson. It's like Sam Levinson didn't know what to do with those characters, but he's like, but I can't get rid of them, so they're just around.
Yeah, there was one con, definitely Barbie Ferrer's character. She got the short end of the stick in Euphoria and Nope. Like I just felt bad for her.
Yeah, it's true. But at least in Euphoria, she's around. Friggin' what's his name who plays McKay? He wasn't even in the season. He didn't get no time. Algie Smith.
Well, she's apparently not coming back for season 3. So
yeah, I assume season 3 they're adults.
I don't think so. They're still
You
gonna be-
assume.
Well, because at this point, aren't they like seniors?
I
None
don't
of them
know.
ever go to class, so
They're gonna be super
It's
serious.
not like
That's
if
true.
you
That
see
was one thing
surprises,
you
they
said
were
in the
like-
review is that they've all failed. They have to.
I don't think I've seen one of them with a book.
Right. We've seen no teachers.
Well, that's everyone's critique about Euphoria is that they're like, this should take place in college because they do all these adult things. I'm like, none of these people are going to college. They haven't studied a single day in their life. All they do is party and go to school after late nights of partying.
The thing that throws me off most about them being in high school, aside from all points that were made, I haven't seen season 2. I've only seen season 1. But like the amount of times that I got dress coded in high school for perfectly normal clothing, there is no way. No
Jasmine,
way.
Yeah.
It only gets worse in season 2. There are things Cassie and Maddie go to school in where I'm like, I'm sorry, are you just trying to dress
To get
up
You-
like
in the
yeah,
least
try
amount
and
of
get
clothing
you would
possible?
get you would
Like
get
getting
the
dress
things they
coded?
were wearing, you would get second glances at the club. Like
Right.
if
Oh,
you
yeah.
were
Oh yeah.
like I think people would even look at you at the club if you wore that.
Be like,
Let
I'll wear the
alone
least
high
amount of
school.
clothing at high school and see if anybody says anything. See how far I can take it
Yeah.
until I'm gone.
I'm not saying
Um,
the outfits aren't fire. Like
Mhm.
No,
No,
but
they're
yeah,
good.
in
girlies
high
look
school,
good.
just-
The girlies
It
look
takes
good.
you out of the world.
but
Like-
it
And
does. It's kind of like
I love that is always the biggest thing when talking about Euphoria and the high school scene. Cause like I've had discussion, they're like, oh no, it's not the drugs or alcohol. Cause like I did that shit too in high school. It's
yeah,
the
that part's
outfits.
realistic.
Yeah. I was like,
Oh,
yeah,
it's
no, you're
realistic.
right. They're like, but it's always the outfits. They're like, yeah, dress coding. And they're like, even the makeup they wear, we would have gotten dress coded for. I didn't know people got dress coded for makeup as well in high school.
I don't
Yeah,
really
we
think anyone
didn't
in
when
my
I
high
was in
school
high
did.
school.
Apparently, some people I knew from high school did get dress coded. They're like, yeah, because that's when like fucking like the heavy eye makeup was like a thing.
Oh,
Apparently.
interesting.
Yeah. And I was like, I didn't know that because I didn't wear any makeup. But apparently it was a thing. So I was like, oh, so they would have even gotten like talked to about their makeup. They're like, oh, absolutely. Who's doing that shit? And who's waking up early enough in high school to be able to do all that work?
Oh, I wore heels to high school. Like
You
It was-
are insane.
when you're younger, you
You make the
feel like you
time.
have to. You make the time. You feel
How
like you
I-
have to do that stuff.
I have dressed like a retired skateboarder from like fucking high school to adult me now. All right.
I mean, some people did for sure, but like that was
Like, don't get
I was
me wrong.
doing my winged eyeliner every day.
Don't get me
like,
wrong. Like my
definitely
clothes are
wearing stilettos.
yeah, I couldn't do that. Like my clothes are actually properly like fitting now, not like 3 sizes too big and everything. But like it's still the same aesthetic I got going on for me.
No, I'm
I
all
was
about
like-
being cozy.
What?
I'm not judging. But like there is
Oh.
that pressure when you're younger.
I guess yeah, that is true. I was also just like I did not talk to enough people in high school to get that pressure at the same time. I didn't like anybody in my high school. I was
Yeah,
really
me and
just
my
thinking about
friends
getting
were-
out.
Me and my friends were in our own bubble, so.
Mm.
And I wasn't like it. I was into girls, but I had a fear of dating girls in high school just because
I believe that.
like the only girls. Well, only because the only girls that liked me were white girls, and dating a white girl in South Carolina isn't exactly the play for a safe, happy life as a teenager. So
That's
it was a wrap.
Jonathan, what's next on your list?
That was I had I guess an honorable mention because I enjoyed it. Fair enough. There's a movie on HBO Max starring Zoe Kravitz called Kimmy, and
I've been meaning to watch that.
yeah,
Dang it.
and you should because it
I
takes
forgot
place
about it.
it takes place in Seattle, and it was filmed in Seattle, and there are scenes that you can clearly see it's like downtown Seattle. And it's fun. It was a fun movie. It was good. I enjoyed it. It's very like
It's called Kimmy,
Edu-
Kimmy.
KIMI. It keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, I'm excited. I was excited to see it because I saw the trailer and I love Zoe Kravitz. So I was like, I'm gonna watch that. And then it got by me. So I will
Mhm.
definitely check it out because I wanted to see that movie.
It's fun. I enjoyed it. And then the last one that I haven't actually watched, but it came out this year, and I do want to watch, The Whale.
I knew you were gonna say The Whale because
Did
you?
everybody's talking about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I've heard
I'm
it's
excited to see it.
yeah. Obviously, Brendan Fraser is getting a lot of praise for his.
We are here for his comeback.
I'm
Yeah.
Let's
so
go.
happy.
Let's
But
go.
I don't even know if it's really a comeback because I'm like, it's not like he hasn't been around. I love him in Doom Patrol. He's been great in Doom Patrol. If you haven't watched,
But this
Doom
is like
Patrol,
his
watch
moment.
it.
This is like
Yeah, this is like
Mhm.
him.
Mhm.
I love Ben. I've always loved Brendan Fraser, and I'm so happy. It's also more that he's getting the recognition too of his work.
mhm.
And he went through a lot of stuff. Like he like
did.
Yeah, he's been
wrote
through a
that
lot.
op-ed
Yeah.
or like whatever article that came out about like the stuff that he struggled with. So
Yeah.
we love it. We love it.
Good for him.
I do have one
Yeah.
other honorable. If you're done, I have one more honorable mention that
I'm
I
done.
wanted to forget. Sorry, I didn't mean to like cut you off there.
Oh no, go ahead. I was good.
The Bob's Burgers movie.
Yes,
That
I
was
I
one
was
of my
honestly
favorites.
surprised you didn't mention it.
I like thought about it after I like finished my list. That movie, I saw it with my sister, and then I actually saw it with Lauren again, and it was so good and so cute. And when Bob mentions his mom, it's like, oh, that's so sweet, and like it's cute how he relates how he sees his mom in each of his kids in a way, and it's just like it was a really like feel good movie, and it was done so well. And I think a lot of the times when you watch cartoon shows do movies, that they can just feel like a really long and dragged on episode. So I was like, if you made this into a special like 2-hour episode, hour-long show, like it would have been fine. You could have do that. But this one actually feels like a proper movie. And then the shadowing technique they did advanced it so much. And I loved how before the movie came out, the season before in Bob's Burgers, that sidewalk became part of the show. So they have a
Mhm.
hole that collapses, and it starts off at the very beginning of the season before the movie came out. The sidewalks keeps breaking more and more. So it like just quickly was able to infuse itself into it. And it didn't make some weird like big proclamations like the Simpsons movie where the whole town blew up, became like part of IPA and all this
Oh yeah,
stuff.
where it's like on the dome.
Yeah, and all this other stuff. No, this one was like more realistic, more like, yeah, we can call back to that and it not be like a whole thing. So I really enjoy that one, and it's just a feel good movie too. So
Mhm.
wanted to
Also,
add that there.
thinking about Brendan Fraser again, another honorable mention that he was in also with HBO. No Sudden Move. With Don Cheadle, Benicio del Toro, and so many others. It was a very star-studded cast. I love that movie a lot. It's a really cool like crime thriller movie. Don Cheadle's great in it, but Brendan Fraser also, I don't think he's in it much, but I remember that was the first movie where I was like, oh snap, Brendan Fraser's back like in a movie, because he's doing Doom Patrol, but that's a TV show with like a limited budget. This is like a legit movie that looks like it's got a budget, it's got tons of stars in it, and he's great in it for the little bit of time he's in it. So yeah, if you haven't watched No Sudden Move, check it out. It's on HBO Max.
Nice. All right. Do we want to move into some of our misses of 2022? We should run through this quickly so we can get to our prediction or our 2023 prediction.
Yeah, Jasmine, you sound like you've got a good chunk of of things you were not feeling.
No, I'm not trying to be a hater.
Do it.
I would say mine are mostly related to horror just because I'm a huge horror fan, and a lot of stuff came out this year.
It was a big year for horror.
It really was. Yeah, it really was. So Smile
did you
was
watch
a bit of a miss for me. What?
I was gonna ask, did you see the new Hellraiser movie on Hulu?
I did not. No.
I did.
You don't need to. We don't need to.
It was I liked it, but I don't think it's like a great, like everyone's saying like, oh yeah, Hellraiser's back. I'm like, I don't think it's a great reboot of Hellraiser, but I do think it's like a nice little like addition, I guess. If you've been craving Hellraiser, here's a new Hellraiser movie.
No, as a horror fan to another horror fan, you don't need to watch it. It's a waste. That
Movie
movie
is better than the others, the like thousands of sequels that the Hellraiser's gotten.
This is nothing but like a little bit of torture porn, and the parts that aren't torture porn are pitch black. You can't
Oh,
see
yeah.
anything.
Those are my 2 least favorite things.
No, you can see.
2 least favorite
I
things.
know
You
you can
can.
see. I'm
You
watching on my phone.
Anytime
in the
they're
dark.
outside, anytime they were outside, it was just dark because it's dark and rainy.
Oh,
No, it
well,
wasn't.
yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. I
It
see.
wasn't
Okay.
worth it. I felt like my time was wasted. If you don't have to watch
Okay.
it, don't watch it. But go on.
Well,
Sorry.
it wasn't necessarily on my list. I like forgot that they came out with that. Anyway, Smile was a bit of a miss for me. Like I said, I really, really liked the jump scares. I also it reminded me a bit. I don't know if this is a fair comparison because It Follows is easily top 10 favorite horror film for me, but it reminded me a bit of It Follows in that just the uneasiness of something always following you. Like I hated playing tag as a kid. I don't like being chased. It gives me such bad anxiety. And so I think that's why It Follows hit so hard for me, and why like there were elements of Smile that I did like. Like it still creeped me out where I was like, oh man, if I like when she looks out the window and when she's like in her building and doesn't quite know if that girl is down there, that would have me messed up.
The one that got me is the one where it's like there's something in the darkness and
when she's in the kitchen.
Yes. And you see,
yeah.
and I'm like, that's creepy. And she doesn't, but nothing happens. So you're just like, that's like one of my worst fears is that like, I'm like, cause I love to keep it dark at night and I just walk around in the darkness to get to the bathroom, whatever. And so it's like, one of my worst fears is that I'm just going to look into a dark corner and there's just something there just staring at me.
My main con with Smile was Jesse T. Usher. I'm sorry. I didn't think he was good at
Was that her fiance?
Yeah.
Okay.
The black guy.
I mean, we don't see him too
I didn't think
often.
he was a good. His performance
he was very
not
dry. He was very dry.
Yeah.
To be fair, he's not great in most things. I hate to be that way, but it's true. Jesse T. Usher is great in one thing, as far as like great, and that is two things. One is Almost Christmas with Danny Glover and all of them, and the second thing is The Boys. Those are the two things he's the best in.
Okay. See, I've been meaning to watch that. I actually just got the comics for that. But I haven't watched it. So I didn't know what he was in.
Don't read the comics. The show is way better. I don't like the comic. I don't. No shade to Garth Ennis. He's a great writer, but I don't think The Boys is where it's at.
And apparently the comics don't mimic the show too much. Only like the characters,
the
like
comics are like the show to the most immature extremes in every way. Like it's bad. Like it's really interesting that the show is 10 times more mature than the comic. Normally it's the other way around.
Okay, I'll read volume 1. I'll see how I feel. I'll probably give up and then I'll watch the show. But at least I made an attempt. Okay, other things that were a miss for me, y'all, I was not into the Black Phone. Everyone I know really liked it.
I hated it.
I heard bad reviews
thought it was
for it, so
boring.
I didn't watch it.
It was so unnecessarily slow for no reason at times.
I loved Sinister. Loved it. Thought it was awesome. So spooky. It was... I feel
like Sinister was clever though. It was really clever.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't just like this person like kidnapping kids and then you have to see kids in pain.
Yeah.
Like that's my third least favorite thing.
Yeah.
Out of order, but it's definitely down there.
Yeah.
I don't know. See kids getting hurt. It was a bit different because no one, I don't know. They had like soul. Anyway. I know y'all have already talked about this. Okay, I already mentioned Men was not my favorite. Amazing performances. I'll say that again. Incredible performances. Would love to see both of those folks in way more things. Halloween.
Oh,
You're bad.
I believe that.
Franchise.
I believe that.
Waiting for. I was like, funny enough though, it's also on my disappointed list.
Yeah. Did you listen to our review of it?
I did. I actually like had messaged Jerome. I was like, thank you for standing up for me. I was so right about the second one. So right. And the third one,
want to make my point clear. I'm not saying the second one, Halloween Kills, is good. By no means is it on my top favorite horror list. Do I recommend it to people? No. Is it better than an H2O1? Yes. And that's where that's the hill I will
No, I
die.
wouldn't agree with that at
You're
all.
just
That's
wrong.
what I agree with.
No,
I felt
would
like
not
the
agree with
second
that
one
at
was
all.
so unnecessary.
It
The third one
probably
too,
was.
but the second one more so.
The third one, it's just because, like, the third one, if you expect to see Michael
It's a
Myers,
different
too
story.
bad because he's not
Yeah.
in it.
It's
for
about
majority
it's
of the
almost
movie.
it's almost like they
I-
preemptively started the series again with the third one, even though they keep saying this is the last one.
Yeah, this is the final story.
I
But
just
it's not.
enjoyed how Jerome
This new guy
said
is going to
that-
be Michael Myers. Or wait, didn't he die? He died.
died.
Mhm.
Okay, he'll come back to
Michael Myers
life,
killed
and then
him.
he'll be Michael Myers again.
No, they're just gonna reboot
Mhm.
the whole thing, I'm sure.
I think they killed the monster. They just need to leave it dead.
Although
They're they're
Go
not
ahead.
going to do that.
Yeah, definitely not. That's not how horror works.
I know.
There's like how many Jason movies? 12.
yeah,
Like it's
there's,
gonna
like, a lot.
go. It's gonna go until we are.
I mean,
One
they tried
does.
to
In the
do it
grave.
with Freddy
Yeah.
Krueger, but the remake died, so he gets to lay to rest.
It's
For
always
now,
possible.
until they can figure
Yeah,
out a way
it's
to bring him back.
always
Until
possible.
more time has passed.
Don't.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Also, I'm
horror
gonna just
series
say
from
we
child.
can go to the next one because I know we're trying to go through these ones fast. So we can talk about what we're looking forward to. But I will just say I want to on the record, my girl Jamie Lee deserves so much better.
She did.
Yes,
Absolutely.
And I feel like
So
she's
much
been
better.
getting. Jerome, you want to do yours?
sure. I only have two, because or technically three. One we can go by real quick. Don't worry, darling. That one we can speed right through, because it's just we don't have time to go into just the
We
mess.
did a
that
whole
is that
hour and a
I
half
loved
about that.
y'all's review about it though, because I just
It's
watched
just-
it, so I was finally able to listen to the review, and I was like, points are being made. Points are being made. I wish I was here for this one. I have so many things to say.
It was such a.
that movie, and it's a shame too because I love Olivia Wilde as a director. I loved Booksmart, so I
You
was
know
really
who
expecting
doesn't?
Don't Worry,
Florence
Darling.
Pugh. Anyway,
Yeah, Florence Pugh is the
Damn.
one who came through. She's the one who
We
like
love
actually
Florence.
no,
delivered.
I said
We
you know
love
who
Florence.
doesn't love Olivia Wilde.
Oh,
Florence Pugh.
and you know what's
Miss
funny
Flo.
too is I recently found the original script for Don't Worry, Darling. It would have been so much better. It would've been
I
so-
was
it
reading
did
about
not have
that.
to be this way. It would have been so
Yeah.
much better, and it explains who Shia LaBeouf is going to play because he was supposed to be Florence Pugh's husband's character. But I was like, the way Harry Styles plays his character, Shia LaBeouf would not be good at doing this. Then I read the original script. The original script, that's Shia's character right there. He would have owned that role. Probably would have been nominated. He would have been a terrible person because the husband in the first original script is awful. He's a terrible person. But I'm like, Shia would have killed that role. But is what it is. Like,
They got Harry Styles.
yeah, they got Harry
That
Styles.
didn't help.
But no, my two main things I really wanted to talk about. The first one, Moon Knight. Y'all let me down, Marvel. You let me down so hard. How the hell you gonna have a Moon Knight show and Moon Knight's not in it? The character. We don't see him cut a face off with his moon rings. We don't see this man having like go through. I mean, granted, they do a great job with respect to the DID community. That part, solid. They did a great job. And for all the Egyptian born people who want an Egyptian superhero, you get that too as a bonus. But that's the problem is this man wanted to do an Egyptian superhero, and guess who's not an Egyptian superhero? Moon Knight. And so they just
This
completely
is the first I've ever heard of this.
they
With Oscar
erased
Isaac?
with Oscar Isaac. They erased all of the things that makes Moon Knight and made a show that was so lazy and just dragged on. Great performance from Oscar Isaac. He's fantastic as the character of Mark Spector / Stephen Grant and others. But it's disappointing because Marvel has been so good about making the character like whoever that character is on the page is who you're going to see in these shows and movies. And it's like they missed the mark so much. For me personally, they missed the mark for Moon Knight so hard Now, granted, there are people who are loving Moon Knight, but most of those people don't know who Moon Knight is. So this is in their minds, this is Moon Knight. And I'm here to tell you, as an avid Moon Knight fan, it is not. It is not Moon Knight.
You'll have to send me like some of your favorite I've like never read any of the comics for this one.
Moon Knight he's an interesting, well, because the character is like essentially a Moon Knight is Batman with dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah, I'm reading that like it has like he has mental illness, and I think that that's really interesting to like be portrayed. So I'd really like
and they did a great, and I have to stress that because it's like it's not like the movie's garbage or the show's garbage. It just wasn't for me as a Moon Knight fan, but I will say they do a lot of work to be very respectful and honest about what it is to have dissociative identity disorder and to live with it, like, and how it can start too. There's a really great episode where you get to see how Moon Knight got so many identities, and it's hard to watch because it's sad and it could be triggering, I'm sure, for some people who have been through that situation. But it's very real. And so I'm like, there's a lot of, so the writing's good. There's a lot of great stuff in there. It's just, this ain't Moon Knight. If this was any other show, it would be gold. But because it's trying to be a Moon Knight show and the character Moon Knight's barely in it, the stuff they do at Moon Knight is barely around because he's a CG character because they CG over the suit. So it's just, it's
really, I think I need to watch it.
Yeah, me personally, that's just my personal take on it. A lot of people are enjoyed Moon Knight. That's just my feelings about Moon Knight. And then the other one that's like my major one, Blonde, is a damn.
I never watched it, but but I feel like the hype died quickly for that one.
Well, because the movie, we found out real quick that the movie wasn't worth watching. It's
this is the Maryland one.
Yeah.
Oh,
I couldn't leave my girl alone.
The X-rated. What's it called?
I didn't watch
X-rated.
It did get an NC-17 rating.
NC-17.
I didn't watch that one because I know the actress. Actually, I remember her saying in an interview she went to Marilyn's grave and asked her if she could play her, and she's like, I felt her say yes to me, and I was like, leave that poor woman to rest.
Even though it's a fictionalized version.
It's
of
not even a real
Marilyn.
Story.
Yeah.
It's a fictional telling of her story.
All I could think was
not
leave
even
Marilyn
realistic.
alone. Let her rest, for God. God.
The level of exploitation of Marilyn Monroe in this movie is just on a whole other level. And I know it's supposed to be a fictionalized tale of this woman's life.
Yeah, because
so
it's based on a novel.
She's still a real person. This is still a real human being who's had her whole life like taken and twisted around to make
Marilyn just got like thrown through the trenches this year with the Kim Kardashian dress, the movie.
I'm still seeing damages from that dress on like TikTok or something. They're like, look at all the beading work that's just completely popped out. The damage is not fixable. It's insane.
It's just a shame because Ana de Armas, I will give her this. She's doing a great job. Her performance is pretty solid. And the scenes they do when they recreate scenes from her movies look awesome. They look solid. If you did not know who Marilyn Monroe is, you would think that that's like a new scene because it just looks just as pristine as the old scene. So I thought there's a lot of filmmaking expertise in there too. There's just a lot of real, you know what it is? This is an art movie that is these are the type of art house movies I hate, where the movie is so up its own ass of just being like, man, we're so creative and cool and artistic and beautiful. And I'm like, okay, but the plot's not really great. And the characters in this are so paper thin. It's like Marilyn Monroe, you're just exploiting all of her mental issues. At no point is she a person. She's a caricature for the entire movie of many different thoughts of who Marilyn Monroe is, whether that be the people who call her a basket case or whatever, people who call her just a dumb blonde sex symbol. It's all of those people, but I never felt at any point that she was the person Marilyn Monroe. So, but the movie, and the director still doesn't get, still tries to be defends the movie, which he should because it's his movie, but he just defends against the exploitation debates that a lot of people have had about the movie. And the worst thing too is like, okay, yeah, you want to say the movie's not exploitative, then why is this movie NC-17? Because the amount of nudity in Blonde is completely unnecessary. It's just hey, we just want Anna de Armas to just be topless and just have on nothing but panties for a solid scene. Why? Because I don't know. It's like there's no reason for her to be naked as much as she is in the movie. And it's like I don't know if that's what they got the NC-17 rating for, because some people can get NC-17 ratings for just having a woman have an orgasm because the ratings board is bullshit. But but regardless, it didn't need to be that extreme, to be honest. Like after watching the movie, and it took me a while, I had to watch it in 3 sittings because I couldn't watch the whole thing from start to finish because it's also too damn long, like Avatar 2. I'd throw that in there. I'm sorry, but this movie is long.
It's
That's an
long.
honorable mention.
It's just like it's just a shame. It really is. It really is a shame, and I hope that this is the last we are seeing of any more Marilyn Monroe movie. We've got plenty of biopics and documentaries about this woman. Leave her alone. Let her rest.
Mhm.
Okay,
I agree.
we're done.
Agreed.
So those are my disappointments of 2022.
For me, I have just a few, and they're not even really like disappointments. They're more like I wish it would have been a little bit more. And they're all gonna be shows for me. I do agree with Halloween, that mention, because what was that? But the first one for me, and the reason for me, I think I'm a little bit more critical when it comes to TV shows is because you spend more time with the TV show. You invest more time in it. So therefore, when it disappoints you, you feel like you've wasted more of your time.
Hey, that's why I put Moon Knight on my list.
Yes.
That's fair.
And then you keep watching, you're like, okay, it'll pay off. But then when it doesn't, you're even more disappointed. And that's how I felt with the Umbrella Academy season 3. Because
I forgot that came out this year.
Oh, you're right.
Why are you gonna keep giving me the same storyline year after year after year? One of the family is together. They get split up. One of the siblings turns evil. Rinse and repeat. Can we please get a new plot? Can we please get a new story? I would like to find something different within these characters.
What
Good
they
point,
did to
good point, yeah.
Emily Raver, is it Camp? I'm sorry if I butchered her name, but what they did, I forget her character right now. But what they did to her was criminal. It reminded me a lot of Cassie from Euphoria season 2, where I'm like, y'all gonna do her character like
Yeah,
this?
they just went for it.
But shout out to Victor. That's the one good thing from Umbrella Academy season 3, I think, is Elliot Page getting to have their character transition into a male gendered character. So one good thing.
One good thing. I didn't even finish it because I was so bored.
You don't need to. I did.
Yeah.
It's the way it leaves off. I
Okay.
was like, I don't even want to know if I want a season 4. I'm gonna keep it a whole buck with you.
The only season I truly enjoyed was the first of the Umbrella Academy, and maybe it's because Mary J. Blige was in it. But anyways,
I
It's
forget
also the only one that
that.
really follows the comic. Like the rest of them, I think that's why they've been struggling a little bit. Is that the other ones have been kind of doing their own thing. The first one pretty much follows the comic pretty solidly.
I love when you can tell shows are not going off what is already written. They're like, we're gonna take these characters as you wacky base, and it's like, no, we can tell what you're trying to do.
Looking at you, Game of Thrones.
It's not fitting.
You went off book, literally.
My other mention, I enjoyed, but I wish it would have given a little bit more. And I was so shocked when I got to episode 10, and because they had been releasing 2 episodes a week, and I got to episode 10, and I'm like, it's over already. Season 2 of The Sex Lives of College Girls. It's a fun show. It's a good show. It's light. You just put it on. They're only 30-minute episodes, and you're done. But it didn't give me that much. So I just wish I would have I would have liked more. I'm not cutting it off like the Umbrella Academy. I probably will. Next season, I'm just gonna ask that they do a little bit better. And then
I just started watching that show because we talked about it and you raved about the first season so much. I was like, I have to. So I actually binge watched the whole first season, watched it in like less than 2 days, and I loved it.
yeah,
I've only watched the first 2 episodes of the newer season. It's a little sad that it gets a little lower.
I like the first season better than the second season.
It
But the
is.
second
The
season
first-
is you'll make it through.
I've been meaning to watch it. I've been hearing nothing but good things.
It's a lot better than I thought it was. All the characters are hilarious, and my favorite is, I forget the actress's name. She is Indian, and she is just fantastic. Everything that comes out of every line she has is just so fucking funny. And like, she's my favorite character. I really gotta look up her name, but if anything, I'd watch the show just for her. If they keep her on as a constant character, I'm staying.
And I know someone who's in season 2.
Oh,
Not in it, but like you hear his voice in one episode. But yeah, season 2, you could have done better.
you know who's in the show? Jerome, Izzy from Dropout, College Humor.
Oh, yeah.
Brandon Lee
okay.
Mulligan's fiance. Yeah, she's in there. She
That's
pops in
cool.
randomly, and so she's great too. I know that actress's name, but what else is on your list, Jonathan?
The only other thing, and I don't know if I want to put it on my misses list because I enjoyed it. But I just didn't. I think I'm gonna enjoy season 2 a lot more, which I have yet to start. And this might be a surprise, this might be a hot take, but The White Lotus.
I haven't. I gotta finish the first season. I haven't finished the first season yet.
So season 1, it was good, but it was very much like slow. Let's get to the point. What are we here for? Type stuff. I have a feeling that, and it was extremely well acted. Like there was no dud in the whole entire show and in season 1. Like everyone did their thing, and that's why literally the whole cast got nominated for an Emmy. But the storyline and the whole entire, like, I'm glad it was 6 episodes because I feel like that was enough for me to like chew on. I'm excited to start season 2 because I know people have been like hyped up on season 2. So I'm excited to see where it goes. And I also forgot in my what I was like excited about last year. There was one thing that I forgot to mention, and that was Abbott Elementary.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. How did I forget that?
Yes. I haven't seen any of season 2. I haven't had time to watch season 2, but I loved season 1, and it is just a great show. I kind of off of that, a play that I saw that I really enjoyed this past year, if we want to extend this to plays. It was
when I extended it to music. So.
To music, exactly. It was a play called King James that I saw here in LA. And it actually stars Chris Perfetti, who is on Abbott Elementary. He's the white guy in Abbott Elementary. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thinking of plays, sorry to take this off topic. Jonathan, I feel like this is more in your wheelhouse. Did you see what happened with Wendell Pierce playing in Death of the Salesman?
I heard something relatively recently. Like, okay, what happened?
Yeah, Wendell Pierce is playing in Death of a Salesman, who's been in like a bunch of movies, TV shows, and stuff. And there's just 2 people. There's one lady in particular. I guess they were heckling the whole time at the play and just causing a disturbance. So he stopped the play. Everything stopped, and he broke character to be like try and like diffuse the situation and calm it down. There's videos of it on the internet. It's bad. I mean, he's great. He's being very respectful, very professional. I'll just be like, hey, if you want a refund, I'll I'll make sure that you get a refund. Like, just head to the lobby. And it got so bad they had to call the police to come and escort them out because they refused to leave. And they were just like, look, if you want a refund, you can leave and get a refund, but you don't have to ruin the show for everybody else. And he was trying his best to be kind of the middleman to help diffuse the situation, because I don't think the ushers were getting through to them. And it was sad to see, because I'm just like,
yeah,
all these people, like, it's not like it's a movie where whether you're making a ruckus or not, the movie's going to continue. Like if you're messing up all the actors doing their performance on stage, like, they can't give the performance they need to give because it's distracting. So it was,
and it's
just
not
it was
like
just a
something you
thing.
can rewind either. That's like the actors are, have a rhythm going. They have the muscle memory almost too, and then the disruption like that can just mess up a whole show. Being forced to be pulled out of character like that, yeah.
But
Don't heckle people.
Good on Wendell Pierce. He handled it very professionally and with class. So it just reminded me of that.
And last but not least, Alex, what were your misses?
Doctor Strange in the multiverse, the madness of the multiverse.
You know what? It wasn't on mine, but that's a good pick.
It could have been so much more than it was. It really was just a Wanda film. And I like Doctor Strange, and I was hoping for more magic and mischief and things like that, and him evolving into this new person after everything that happened with the Avengers.
The Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, and we didn't get that. We got him getting his ass kicked by Wanda and her creepy crawling out of the mirror disfigurement going on.
Look cool though.
It looked cool. I was just more hoping for actual Doctor Strange in a Doctor Strange movie. Instead, we got Wanda and her madness. So that was kind of a disappointment for me. The Invitation. I don't know if you guys know.
I was
wanted
meaning
to watch it, but I
that.
never
It's on,
got around to it.
It's on either HBO or
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix right now. Yeah, and
I didn't watch it too long ago. It's like many with horror films and thrillers lately, the ending just drops and it ends like, okay, I guess. Where like the rest of the film, the suspense, the buildup, fantastic, and it kind of feels like a book romance where you're like, oh, it's the creepy thing that they're like fast, quick to fall in love, and like she's suddenly introduced to this whole world of like, oh look, here's money and you can marry the lord of the manor and all this stuff, and then it's just, the secrets are revealed and it turns out horrible, in fact. But it's just the ending of when the secret is revealed, you're just like, oh, I kind of knew that was coming, but also wasn't presented in the most spectacular way either. It was just kind of, you were like more so informed than anything. Like, yeah, your predictions are right. This is what happens.
I've heard that the movie Ready or Not is like the better version of The Invitation. It's kind of the same premise.
Yes, kind of.
That movie was great.
That movie was really good. You got a more satisfied feeling after Ready or Not. After she's, that Invitation, you don't get a satisfied feeling. You're just kind of like, yeah, I kind of figured out what you were thinking a little bit earlier, and like it just led to that. Ready or Not, definitely you get a satisfied feeling when you see her, sitting on those steps after everything. But like Invitation, it was beautiful. Visually, it was very pretty. It was set in a darker setting, but you could see everything that you needed to see. The lighting was well done, so that was a thing. I had another one, The Witcher. I rewatched some of those episodes of season 2. I think I enjoyed it more so when it first came out, because I do enjoy The Witcher and I do enjoy Henry Cavill's acting with that. Rewatching a couple episodes,
I didn't think the word acting was coming after that.
Yeah, me
when
neither.
When you paused, you said, I enjoyed Henry Cavill's acting.
I enjoyed his acting
same.
as The Witcher, yeah.
But I think for different reasons. Like, I see where you're coming from, Jonathan, but I'm just like, that man cannot act, and y'all know it.
I'll have you know he's great in The Witcher. Okay.
He is so stiff.
That's
So
what
sick.
Geralt,
Geralt.
Rivia's
That's
character
Geralt,
is. He's
yeah.
supposed to be
I
stoic
remember-
and stiff.
Jasmine,
He's
Is
I
it
not very-
acting then, or is it just him showing up?
I mean,
Jasmine-
you can be, like stoic and still be cool, and I feel like Geralt is cool.
Jasmine, I remember when the first Superman that he was in came out when we were at IMAX, and you were talking about how bad his acting was, and I watched that movie and I could totally see it. Like,
That's like my
So,
villain origin
if
story.
it helps,
So,
I've never watched Superman, so that's why.
So are you
I can
not
say
disappointed that he's not going to be Superman anymore? After
No,
his
my
second
heart did
round?
not break
Sake.
after that. Yeah, my heart did
Okay,
not.
he was
break
bad
after
in that. He was also not great in Mission Impossible.
See, I liked him in
Not
Mission
great.
Impossible.
I
I liked
another
him in-
movie I
Again,
have
he's
not
just
seen.
showing up. It's not him acting. It's the same person.
If it like that's the reason I can't tell that that's not acting because I haven't seen those other movies.
I like him in
Oh
Mission
my God.
Impossible. I thought he was good in Mission Impossible. I don't think
fit.
he's the best Superman. I don't mind him as
Not my
Superman,
eye.
but I am, because when people were all being all like, Henry Cavill, that's Superman no more. And I'm like, y'all act like we haven't gotten multiple Supermen. Like, we will
You
get
have-
another
who is
actor.
who is watching those
Superman.
movies?
I don't know anymore. I genuinely
Children.
don't know.
Or at least grown men that act like children, because it's just like, okay, if you're not getting the movies you want to see, those movies still exist. Buy them on, go on down to your local Best Buy and buy them bitches on Blu-ray. And in the meanwhile, like enjoy the movies that are coming out and they're new. You act like this is the first time
I don't know.
we're
When you
rebooting
go
this
to Best Buy,
franchise.
you can't find anybody. Just go to Target.
That's
or something.
true. Well, that's because they've got new COVID protocols. Everyone's in the front now. But anyway, I mean, it's like, I don't know why people are so aggro about the whole Zack Snyder universe of slate of movies. I'm like, if you liked them, you liked them, but you act like if they don't exist, like the whole house of cards is coming down. They're still gonna make Batman movies and Superman movies.
They went
Wonder
and
Woman
made another
movies, like-
Batman movie that was more wildly successful than like the other ones from Zack
Right.
Snyder's universe.
So
And
it's
they'll
like
make
they're
another
gonna keep-
Freddy Krueger too. We've
Why?
come full circle.
Why, Jasmine? Why? You gotta hurt me like that. I thought we
It's
were
gonna
friends.
happen.
She's
I'm
not
just letting
wrong
you
though.
know.
They're gonna
It
keep-
doesn't have to
they'll keep
happen
making
though. They
But it
tried to
will.
remake one back in like 2012 or something.
Funny
It
enough,
died
I like
and
Jackie
buried.
Earl Haley as Freddy Krueger. I just think the script.
Yeah, I didn't hate it.
I
didn't hate it.
refuse to watch it.
Wait, have you
Refuse.
seen
Alex,
it?
No,
Well,
No,
how do
'cause
you know it's
I-
bad then?
because
she refuses
everybody
to
talks about it being bad.
I don't think it's a great
And
reboot
I have
in that
seen
sense, but
the
I
remake
like.
of Halloween, and I've seen the remake of like Rob Zombie's Halloween, and then like the remake of Jason Friday the 13th, House of Wax. I can tell off the bat during that time when that era, all those horror films were being remade, that was not going to be the one that was going to be like, yeah, they did it, they hit the mark.
Honestly, out of all of those films, I would say that remake was the
Yeah, it
better
was the
one
best
out of
one.
all of those ones
Out
that
of
you
all of
named.
them.
Like,
House of Wax was okay. Okay, it was okay.
I barely remember it, so I don't have.
I
an
mean, if that's
opinion.
the
I don't know.
standard, like that
I
was
don't-
Paris Hilton. No hate on the girl, but like we're talking
I
about
mean,
acting right
she leaned into the whole like. Actually, the director of the new House of Wax, I recently saw something. I was like watching Watch Mojo, where they're like directors that hated their film. They got so mad at Paris Hilton because people were going to see the movie just to see Paris Hilton die, and she leaned so much into it that she got her own like merch shit going, like, oh, Paris Hilton dies, all this shit, and everybody's like, that's what the movie's about. Nobody gives a shit about your remake or House of Wax or anything, and the director ended up fucking hating everybody because he's like, well, nobody cares about my movie. They just want to see this celebrity get impaled.
First of all, I respect her hustle.
Oh no.
Second of all, that is not why the movie was bad. But anyway, what else
That's
do you
why
have on
he-
your list?
That's what he blamed it. No, the
I mean,
movie had
listen,
so many other things wrong with
Paris
it.
Hilton, you could be Taylor Swift in Amsterdam. All right, like, like where nobody
shit,
thinks
yeah.
about it after it happens.
No, but like
Spoilers
with the
for
Paris Hilton
Amsterdam.
one, Taylor Swift came out of nowhere though. You knew Paris Hilton was gonna die. Taylor Swift, she got like
I mean, if you watched the trailer, you knew that Taylor Swift was in the movie.
there was more
We're just
detail.
now we're just naming people who can't act.
That's
That's
true.
what I
No.
told Jonathan. Jonathan wants Taylor Swift to have this bursting like acting career, but I don't think
I
that's
would
what
like
Taylor
to
Swift
see
wants.
what she does with the Lady Gaga moment. Like, give her a Star Is Born, something where she can half sing and half act, like
Okay,
so
the
she don't have to
difference
dip her toe fully. She don't.
the
She can
difference
no.
is
She can
Lady
dip her
Gaga
foot in. She
is
doesn't have to.
trained. She like acted before before she was in those movies.
Who?
Lady Gaga, like
Gaga.
she had actually like I think had done theater, not like professionally, but just like, that's what she liked to do. So she got training before she was in those movies. That's why she's so good in them, acting wise.
Anyway,
People say House
Another-
of Gucci is bad. Anyway, Alex, sorry.
Asaguchi was okay.
It was not great though.
It wasn't great.
Alex, go ahead.
Got cringy at parts. One movie that I knew was going to be bad, but I didn't realize how bad it actually was until I watched it. Morbius. Jared Leto.
Wait, I haven't seen that movie, but like, you thought that
neither.
was going to be good?
No, I said a movie I knew was going to be bad, but I
But
didn't
just didn't know the
anticipate
level of
how
bad.
bad it would be. I knew this movie was going to be terrible, but watching it was like a whole nother level of like, y'all sat here, not only read the script out loud, did a table read, acted it, everything out, had people edit this film, and then when you watch the final version, you're like, yes, this is the thing we're going to put up on the screen for everybody to see.
You know what though? I gotta
No.
respect Sony's hustle, because here's the thing. Everybody was so mad because up until that point, you have all these scenes in all the trailers where it's like, oh, there's a Spider-Man sticker in the back. Like it's Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and this coming off of Spider-Man No Way Home, where they do all this multiverse stuff. So it's just, so it's just like Spider-Man poster in the back. Michael Keaton's in the trailer. He's gonna be Vulture. Oh snap, Vulture's gonna be in there. How is he tied in or whatever? And none of this multiversal stuff. Everyone had all these theories. None of that was in the movie. And you have people complaining like, "There's no Spider-Man. Like Vulture's barely in."
You know,
like,
you know what you get out of this movie? Matt Smith, the actor, doing some weird ass, not rhythmic dancing where he's trying to feel himself. It was so fucking awkward and cringy to watch. You're just like, oh.
in my
this
head,
feels
I was
like a
just
private
like,
scene.
all these people complaining. I'm just like, it's almost like y'all went and saw a movie about the very, very obscure Marvel character, Michael Morbius. Why did you expect to see Spider-Man? Or 1,000 other characters that they thought were in the movie?
Because usually they sneak in these like high-end characters to help build this one. It was just a lot.
The only one I
like,
thought was
knew...
fun was the Venom reference in the trailer. I thought Venom was going to be in the movie, and then when he wasn't in the movie, I was like, dang, Sony, y'all got him. Y'all got those tickets. They knew the movie was bad, so they had to make up lies.
They also do this one thing, and it drives me crazy. And I want everybody to know this. Nobody should be doing this, but if you're gonna cut yourself to collect blood or something, do not do it on the palm of your hands. There's so many fucking nerve endings here. It's such sensitive here. It will be so painful. It's not gonna look cool in movies where you're like, they cut it because that's what he does. No, absolutely not. It's going to be. I've done it. I've cut my hand from here to here one time. It was one of the most painful experiences I have ever had. Don't do that. And half the time you only need like a drop of blood. Prick your thumb or something. All right. Don't if you're doing a blood ritual, use a needle for your finger. All right.
Have you seen the Brendan Gleeson SNL sketch about that?
No.
It's like they're supposed to be like, like in the medieval times, they're like, let's do a blood oath then. Ha! And then they shake hands. Brendan Gleeson cuts it, and the joke is that he cut it a little too deep and just keeps spraying blood out of his hand. And he's just like, I've never done a blood oath before. I'm sorry. I cut a little too deep.
Oh, I clench up when I see like scenes like that in movies where they're just like
yeah, they put a hose in his jacket so that it's just spraying blood, and they just couldn't stop laughing because he's just like waving his arm around.
Tis a scratch, but that's
a flesh
the movie.
wound.
Yeah. That is a movie I knew was bad going in. and I saw how many people were like, it's bad. And then people were making fun of it so much, they called it Morbius time.
It's Morbin time.
Morbin time. That they actually brought it back to theaters for a week.
Yeah.
And then it bombed a second time in theaters, and then it was just on Netflix. I was like, I'm gonna watch this movie. Because honestly, how bad is it, really? Like, I know it's gonna be bad because I don't like Jared Leto. He's not a good actor. He's a dick from what it sounds like on stage.
I will give you Requiem for a Dream and Fight Club. Those are his two, I think, best performances.
Jared Leto was in Fight Club?
Yes, he was Angel Face. He's the one who gets beat up by Edward Norton and his face gets all disfigured and stuff.
Well, maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much. I hear he's a dick on set too, so like not somebody who seems enjoyable to work around. But yeah, no, that movie was fucking awful, and just every aspect of it. There was not a scene I did enjoy in that film. And I really like Matt Smith. This is something Matt Smith should never ever like bring up again as he's talking about critical roles or anything like that.
Matt Smith in movies just doesn't do well. He's great in shows. Because House of the Dragon, really great. Doctor Who, fantastic. But then it's like you look at Terminator, Genesis, terrible. This, terrible.
Is it the actor or is it just like he's picking terrible movies?
Well, that might be a piece of it. Or
he's actually not that bad of an actor.
Projects may be the piece of it.
Terrible projects. Yeah, he tries to do this dance there, and it's like it looks like he's trying to feel himself like, yeah, I'm feeling good because he's like healed in a process, but like dude has no rhythm. This man is British.
He's white. Of course, he's
white. He's a pure white. So like not a single rhythm in them bones. And it shows.
Alex, are those
those are the ones that have hurt me this year.
Okay. All right. Let's get to our the title, the namesake of this podcast, an hour and 40 minutes in.
The expectations of 2023. Look, this is going to be a long episode anyway. All right, we're trying to cut down. This might be our record for
literally the longest episode
ever. No, it's got to beat the role play episode. That's the longest one at 2.5 hours.
Okay, the second longest.
As we are wasting time and adding time, Jonathan, what's the next part?
Well, we're gonna dive into our expectations for 2023. Is anyone bursting at the seams to go first?
I'll go first. I'll hit mine out the way. I'm gonna speed through a few, but there's only a few that I want to get specific about, and that's 3 of them. 1, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Cannot wait. Looks so good. I love the first one so much. Can't wait to see this one. Oscar Isaac as Spider-Man 2099. Perfect casting. But I can't wait to see the other Spider-Men or Spider-Women. In fact, I think Issa Rae plays Jessica Drew. So she's in there too. So there's going to be, it's just going to be great. But the first one is so good. So I have no doubts that the second one will be good. Although I am a little concerned that it's not Phil Lord and Simon Miller writing this time. It's a different person. And this is supposed to be, as far as I know, it's still supposed to be a 2-parter. This is going to be part 1, and then there's going to be a sequel. That'll be part 2. So that does concern me a little bit, but I'm looking forward to it. Also looking forward to Dungeons and Dragons for obvious reasons, because I'm a huge D&D nerd. And finally, it looks like, we're going to have a Dungeons and Dragons movie that is like what it's like to play Dungeons and Dragons, where you're just messing around with your friends, doing dumb shit, where it's just like, I don't know, I want to stick a sword up a dragon's ass. What's the role I need to make to do that? It's like, that's Dungeons and Dragons sometimes. So it looks fun. It looks like a blast of a time. And I'm excited for that. I lied. It wasn't 4. It wasn't 3. It's 4. The Last of Us also looks really good. I still have my doubts because I don't know. We haven't had any great live action video game shows, so this is going to be a really interesting interesting one. But it looks good so far. Pedro Pascal looks fantastic as Joel.
And this one is like big budget, right?
Yeah, so it looks like they're really doing it up. The clickers look fantastic, look just like they do in the video game. So I have faith that they'll do it right. It's just I'm curious to see if it's going to be the video game verbatim, because it's looking like it's just the video game in show form. And I'm like, and normally when they do that, I'm like, okay, am I going to feel like I'd rather just have a controller in my hand the whole time, or are you actually going to do something interesting with it? So we'll see how it goes. And then the last one that I'll actually like go into detail about is the Marvels. And the reason, because there's other Marvel movies coming out next year, but the Marvels is the one I really want to succeed for the reason of it's a second chance to get to do what I hoped Captain Marvel would do, which was have a female-led Marvel movie with all like female cast that's like has the same fanfare as Black Panther did. Because Captain Marvel didn't get it, Black Widow didn't get it, She-Hulk didn't get it, and I'm just like, at this point, I'm really getting annoyed with Marvel. And to be fair, She-Hulk's fault is the marketing. The marketing failed She-Hulk, but Captain Marvel and Black Widow, I'm just like, you waited too late to do Black Widow, and with Captain Marvel, I feel like I didn't put as much effort as you thought you did into that movie, even though I like Captain Marvel a lot. So the Marvels is there, I feel like, the last major chance, because you got Kamala Khan in there representing for the Muslim American girls around the world. You've got Tiana Paris as Photon. It's going to be in that movie representing for the Black American women of the world. And you got Brie Larson in there as Captain Marvel. And Nia DaCosta's behind the camera. There is no reason this movie should fail. Like, as far as like reception, it's going to make money because it's a Marvel movie. Reception wise, I want this movie to succeed because I want these characters to live on. Because if it fails this time, I don't know if they're going to do anything else with these characters. Because on paper, like in the movie world, money talks. And if they're not making money, we're not doing anything with them anymore. And I don't want to see them go thrown to the wayside because of just failed ticket sales. So I need this movie to succeed. Don't do what She-Hulk did, which is make a marketing campaign around pissing off the main core fan base and telling them to piss off, expecting the other fan base, like people who we're not going to watch the show anyway, to support your show and then have bad viewership. Don't do that. Let the movie stand on its own, please. That's all I ask. Because it's already got a great start. It's got a great starting point. My honorable mentions for next year: Bel Air season 2, can't wait because I loved season 1. Creed 3, because Jonathan Majors, I want to see him beat up Michael B. Jordan. I don't know why.
I get it.
The man's got muscles on top of muscles. Like, in fact, I read an interview where he was like, yeah, to play Kang in Ant-Man, I put on like an extra like 30 something pounds of muscle. I'm like, what? How much more muscle did you need? You were already
Where did you already put it?
Like, what is wrong with you? You're already shredded. The man has probably 0.0001% body fat. He's just all muscle. So I'm excited for that movie and Ant-Man 2, but Jonathan Majors can do no wrong for me. And my last two, which are more guilty pleasure picks, one of which we'll review, is Cocaine Bear and Megan. Because Megan looks like a fun time.
Oh yeah, Megan.
Especially when she starts busting a move in the hallway. I was like, I'm watching this movie.
There's on my route to work. There's a poster and I finally looked. I finally looked at what the tagline was, and I forget, but it was so dumb. I forget what it was, but yeah.
You know, there's a little girl in there. It's not CGI. They just have a
it's a person in a suit.
It's a little person in a suit. It's a child.
But I'm excited for Megan and Cocaine Bear. I can't stop laughing every time I watch that movie.
Yes,
the trailer.
Cocaine Bear.
It looks so fun. And also last movie starring the late great Ray Liotta. So I gotta watch it anyway. But it's just, I just love the premise. I love the idea, and the trailer just makes it look like it's gonna be a bucket of laughs. So those are my expectations for 2023. I'm sure there's some more in there that I've forgotten about, but you know, we don't have time for those.
Jasmine.
Okay, well,
What are
I
you
will
excited
also say, following that, very excited for Cocaine Bear. Very, very, very excited. Cannot wait. Probably will be their opening night. Megan, I think, looks ridiculous,
It does.
but I must still watch it because I loved Malignant, the last movie that screenwriter and director, I believe.
Oh,
Let me double check, actually.
It might be the screenwriter. I don't think it's the director. I think that because the director was Lee Whannell, right? For Malignant, I can't remember.
No, it was James Wan.
Oh, right, it was James Wan. That's right.
Yes. No, it's not directed. Megan is not directed by him, but it is still a story by him, by James Wan, but the same screenwriter. I loved Malignant, and that was ridiculous. So I feel like I'm going to be pleasantly surprised by Megan. Let me look at my list.
I have a coworker named Megan, and she's like, "Great! I can't wait for this movie to come out because
Just like that I didn't mention that in my 2022 releases. I'm sure none of y'all watched this movie though. Of fun movie Karen.
oh, I heard
No, I
about
didn't
it.
watch that.
The
But
BET classic.
it
Karen.
looks like it was a student film
It
that
really-
just
when she kicks over the trash can. Like, take that, black people.
Lord.
Ha! I kicked over your trash can.
oh my gosh.
No, I definitely didn't watch that one. A little too silly for me. A little too silly. Too on the nose. Have y'all heard of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey?
Yes.
Yep, we're planning on
I'm
reviewing
so
it.
excited.
Okay.
That is actually my
Also,
review.
another ridiculous one. It's gonna be the year of ridiculous horror.
For real.
Yeah,
Next
the Grinch
year.
one is coming too. Like at some point.
I
The
feel like
mean one, or the mean one, I think is what it's called.
there are so many ridiculous horror films, and I feel like if they leaned into the ridiculousness, like Winnie the Pooh Bear movie, more people would be like so excited to see it and like more forgiving when it's like, oh, you were marking it as ridiculous because it is ridiculous, and I'm enjoying it in that manner instead of being like, oh, this is a scary horror film, and I go and it's like, the fuck is this? What am I
I don't know.
watching?
And you
I
know
don't
the
know.
story.
It's fun to return to that era of the 80s where you're getting horror movies that are a dime a dozen, and some of them were the dumbest premises ever.
Well, and you know the reason why it's Winnie the Pooh's getting made into a horror film because Winnie the Pooh is now public domain, so Disney doesn't just own it. So when it went into public domain,
So somebody's first instinct was to make
to
it
make
into
a horror
murderous
movie.
bear.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, it's not their first instinct. This has been sitting on the shelf for a long time. I am sure of that.
They just
had this
legally
ready.
couldn't.
They were
Yeah.
just waiting. They were
Yeah,
biding their time until the door was open to make this movie.
It did feel like it was made very quickly. All of a sudden, you're getting Winnie the Pooh.
So one of them, also both horror movies, The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Have y'all heard of that?
No, it sounds interesting.
I'm a sucker for anything nautical, like spooky and nautical put together. I'm there. I will show up. It's the title comes from a chapter of Dracula, like a chapter in the Dracula, the original Dracula, Bram Stoker's. And the movie premise, there's like no trailer out, but the movie premise is folks who are on a ship and then spooky stuff starts happening, which has been done before, but I love the Dracula angle. I really just like the name of it. And I'm very, very excited about it. Hopefully it's not bad. So my very last one, have y'all heard the buzz around Skinamarink?
I haven't heard the buzzer at it, but I've heard a little bit about it.
It's very like it's being talked about a lot in the horror circles right now. It was at a film festival, I believe Fangoria's film festival, and people are saying that it's so scary. I'm going to preface this because like when I come back on next year, in for our 2023 one, and say that I was disappointed by it, I don't want to be surprised or have anyone
you're
else
already-
be surprised.
You're what's the phrase? Keep talking and I'll think of it.
Okay.
Setting expectations.
No, I think of it all the anyway.
Are you
I'll
going
think of it.
pretty
Yeah.
disappointed in?
No.
It'll come to you.
It'll
I'll
come
keep
to me.
talking about this movie and it'll come to you.
Yes.
So it premiered at this film festival, and
sorry, I know it now.
What is it?
Hope for the best, but expect the least.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah,
That's
that's what you're
exactly
doing.
what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing. So I said before that I really like slow burn horror films, and all of the info about this one, it's going to be released on Shudder next month.
Ooh.
It was filmed in
I have to get
the
on Shudder, 'cause,
yeah, it is the move. It was filmed in the director's childhood home, and it's all it looks like very VHS. I think it's 100 minutes long, and it's just the way that it's been described is very, very long shots of just kind of a dim house, but a lot of scenes of that. And people are saying, oh, it made me feel so uneasy. I personally am afraid of the dark. And it's like, if you're afraid of the dark, this will really get you. But the story is 2 kids wake up and their parents aren't there anymore. And there's no doors or windows in the house. And there's like a spooky entity in the house that talks to them.
Yeah, I've had fucking nightmares like that.
Yeah, it does sound really, really
Yeah.
spooky, and definitely things that I would be freaked out about. I've been watching horror films since I was really young, and I've had my share of nightmares. And, like I said, I'm afraid of the dark, but I am just wondering if it's too slow burn, even for me. Because I don't think I've been told that there's not a lot of dialogue. There's maybe 2 jump scares. So I'm going to watch it. I'm going to turn all the lights off, put some subtitles on, and it'll say like eerie music at the bottom or something, I'm sure. Maybe 5 lines of dialogue through the whole thing. But I do want to watch it. And I just really admire people who take risks anyway. So even if I don't like it, I think it's really cool that he did it. It's gotten a lot of buzz from other people, and I do want success for him. So all of mine are spooky.
I love the spooky.
And maybe Beyonce will finally announce her tour. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, hey, at least get Rihanna for the Super Bowl.
Yes, that's right.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's gonna be good.
It will be, yeah.
And I've added some stuff while we've been talking that I've remembered. At first I was like, nothing's really coming out next year that I'm excited about. But then I thought about all the stuff that has been like announced that's going to be coming out and stuff, or announced that they're filming or whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah, there's a good amount of stuff. A couple of the things I think I mentioned in last year's, they still haven't come out, but they will definitely be coming out next year. One of them, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it, but I'm not 100% sure. It's a movie called Leave the World Behind. It's based on a book that I read earlier this year, or maybe at the end of last year. And I'm trying to pull up the cast right now. It's going to star Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, Mahershala Ali, Kevin Bacon, and Mahala Harold. She was the black girl in Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. And basically
the other one.
Yes, not Amanda Stenberg. Yeah. It's like a psychological thriller, and it's really hard to explain. It's like it's another Airbnb thing. So this white family goes to this Airbnb, and then this black couple comes to the Airbnb and says, hey, this is our Airbnb. We rented it out to you, but there's a storm or something going on, so we have to stay here. and then the white family's like, but we rented this out, and they're like, this is our home. So and then weird stuff starts happening. So that's basically the premise. And and it's really good. I enjoyed it. But I'm looking forward to it. And that's coming out on Netflix. The other thing I think I mentioned last year as well, Prince Harry's book. It's coming out in January. It's called Spare. I'm gonna read it, and that's that.
You do you. Read what you want to read.
I am really excited. Moderately, actually, a little bit. I'm excited for the Barbie movie. I'm just gonna say it. I'm excited for the Barbie movie.
Dude, that's on my list.
Teaser
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie. The teaser looked really good. And if I have all the people to pick to play Barbie right now, Margot Robbie, perfect casting. She looks like a Barbie come to life. Like she's the perfect person to play that character. The only other person I would have picked was
like she's great in everything.
Yeah.
That's it's interesting too, because it's like she's great in everything, but her movies have as of late, I don't know what's been going on. They haven't been making the money that I think people have been hoping for her to be like the lead. I'm hoping this changes that though, because Barbie, like it's a huge.
Is Barbie like this is for like the adults or for the children? Because I can't figure that out yet.
I think this is supposed to be kind of like the Lego movie, where it's like it's for everybody.
Okay.
Like it's gonna be like a family movie. That's
I thought it was gonna be like more adult skewed.
Yeah, I assumed that, but then like
that
the trailers I kept seeing weren't very like grown up version of what I was saying.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's not going to be like very adult. It'll probably be PG-13 in the sense that, you know, they're going to make some jokes, and Barbie's had a history, but it's like the worst time of Hasbro's life was when men ran the Barbie corporation, because for those who don't know, Hasbro is split into two divisions: the people who deal with the boy toys and the people who deal with the girl toys. That's at least how it was described in like the Toys That Made Us. But Barbie was, of course, in the girls' toy section and has notoriously always been ran by women. There's a portion during the 90s or I think late 80s where the woman who was in charge of Barbie had retired or something like that. And there was no one to replace her. So men took over for Barbie for a little bit, and they made the worst Barbie toys ever. Worst of which, in my opinion, being Skipper grows up, because Barbie has a sister named Skipper who's like a teenager, and they thought it was a smart idea to have a Barbie where it's like, oh well, it's Skipper, but you know, Skipper, she's always been a little girl, but what if she's a teenager? So let's make a toy where when you wind her arm around, she grows boobs, because you know she's hitting puberty. And they sold this on shelves. It's just like, men should never run the Barbie line ever again. The other one was pregnant Barbie, in which you could pull her stomach, like if you took her clothes off, her stomach detached and there was a baby in there. That's another one of theirs.
Oh yeah, because
Barbie's had some
babies in the stomach.
Barbie's had some bad history.
I'm pretty sure I watched
of making
a horror
terrible
film
toys
that ended like that as well.
It's just I like, if you want to watch that episode, The Toys That Made Us, about Barbie, is very interesting. But I'm excited for the movie too. It looks good. Samara Weaving was the other person I was thinking of. If you had to pick another actress to play Barbie who looks like a Barbie, Samara Weaving.
Oh yeah, because don't Margot Robbie and don't
they always get confused for each other?
Yeah. And Issa Rae's going to be in it too. I'm excited.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling playing Ken, who is also perfect casting. If I had to pick anyone to be the Ken doll, it would be Ryan Gosling. He would be my first thought.
So I'm excited for that. I'm also excited for it's a horror. I've heard of it described as psychological thriller, but I've also heard of it described as horror. It's an A24 movie starring the one and only Brandy, called The Front Room.
Let's go. I have not heard
Oh,
of this,
yeah,
but
I'm ready
for
A24
that.
and Brandy, I am there.
Yeah, when I saw the
I don't even
post,
need to know anything else. Like, I am there.
when I saw the post, I was like, Brandy's gonna be in an A24 movie, and I was
Heck
so
yeah.
excited.
Let me write that down right now. What was it called?
The Front Room. So I'm really excited about that. I don't really know what it's about. But yeah, I don't need to. Speaking of horror and A24, Ari Aster, he's coming out with his next movie called Beau is Afraid with Joaquin Phoenix. I am excited about that as well because Ari Aster, he's like him and Jordan Peele, I feel like are the two directors I'm looking at right now, and I will be watching all of their movies because they make such like their movie making style is very them and distinct. So I'll definitely be watching that. I think, is this the last one on my list? Yes, the last one. There was another book that came out, I think either last year or this year, that I read called The Other Black Girl. They're making that into a series on Hulu. Basically, it takes place in an office at a publishing company. There's one Black girl who works there, and she's the only Black girl who works there. Then another Black girl comes in, and all this bad stuff keeps happening to the Black girl that originally was there. And she's trying to figure out what's happening. Like, is this other Black girl trying to sabotage me? Is this somebody else? What's going on? Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for that.
You've named 2 books, and I've like already put them on hold at the library. Also, I'm really glad that you brought up the Ari Aster film because I've been really looking forward to that. And I did not realize that he had changed the name.
Yeah, it used to be called Disappointment Boulevard, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
just glad that they're putting out more info about it now.
Yeah, the one I heard was Disappointment Boulevard.
Yeah.
Also, I'm surprised you didn't mention, at least I think it comes out next year, or I guess this year, because when this comes out, it'll be 2023. The Blackening.
Yes! Oh my gosh. Oh, I forgot about that.
I'm ready for that movie. I love it.
Yes.
It looks good. I just watched the sketch again a little while back. It's still so funny.
Oh, it's great.
Like, he had to die. He voted for Trump.
Like, that's fine.
That's gonna be fun.
It was so funny because me and my sister were doing that a little bit to go to each other, where we were just teasing each other about who's more Mexican than the other one, because she was trying to give me shit about something I just do it, and I'm like, look, girl, you can't come at me about being Mexican when you can't even eat spicy food anymore. And she's like, I can eat spicy food. I'm like, no, you can't. You start gagging on it. I'm like, you insulted our ancestors by doing so. Because also living with Yasi, Persian food is very sweet. It's nothing like Mexican food. So she's become even more immune. I was like, see, you weakened your taste buds. But I'm excited for that movie. That movie looks like it's gonna be probably just a lot of fun.
Can't wait for the trailer.
Yeah.
There's still no trailer for it yet.
I hope they keep it ridiculous. Again, going with the whole like the horror, the premise is like a little bit funny, and it is funny and humorous. And if they try to erase that humor from the horror part of it and making it into a movie, then you're just gonna kill the whole thing.
Oh no, I think it's supposed to be just a straight comedy, like horror comedy. I don't think they're gonna try to make it anything other than that.
I hope so,
especially because it's directed by the same person. So
it is. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
then
it's directed by the
better.
same guy. Like he's new producer, so he can have more money, but same director.
Oh, then fantastic. Then I'm even more excited that they kept the same director. Because it was good.
Going back to The Front Room real quick, because I like looked it up after you said that. It's directed by Max and Sam Eggers, the brothers of Robert Eggers, who is another one of those people that like kind of with Ari Aster and Jordan Peele, where I'm like, does not miss, has not missed. Like I will watch
The Northman.
Anything you create, I will watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like even more excited.
Yeah.
That's 3 things.
It's
3 things about this movie. A24 Brandy Eggers got it.
check. Take my money already.
Take
Do
my
y'all
money
take,
now. Let me
advance
pre-order
for
my
that?
ticket.
Shut up and
Let me
take my
pre-order my
money.
ticket.
Let's just go. Let's go now.
That's it for me.
Alex,
Yo.
finish us off.
Well, mostly mentioned Cocaine Bear,
Mhm.
Barbie. Really excited for those two. Feel like they're a little bit on the different of the spectrum, but still enjoying it. A movie that I'm excited to see, but also and not expecting much from it. The remake of The Exorcist.
God, that
They're
was
making a new
good.
one. It's coming out next year, and I'm
That's going to
int-
Hulu, right? Or is that coming out in
I-
theaters?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
But I am trying to. I was like, well, you have a little more. You're able to manipulate film a little easier now than you were back then, because a lot of times they cut in like little, faces of the demon throughout Exorcist, and Exorcist has a creepy vibe to it. I'm just hoping they portray that creepiness, that unsettling before you even reach the daughter's bedroom. The original Exorcist was able to create this easy unfeeling, this tightness in your chest when you're like, I don't know what's going to be up there, but it's not good. I'm hoping they are able to portray that again.
My concern would be that they don't CG it up too much, because
Yeah,
back
that's what I was
then,
saying. I'm just
everything's
hoping
practical. So now it's like you got CG.
they don't make
you do
the
a lot more.
when they expose more of her, how her body's basically deteriorating. They don't make it like cartoony style,
Mhm.
But I am a little excited to see that. I'm excited to see Meg 2.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was coming out.
Meg
Yep.
2, The Trench. It's based off the sequel, the book of the original Meg, The Trench.
As long as Jason Statham's back.
I know. I love him in that.
All right.
But yeah, as anybody knows, I'm a huge fan of sharks. I love my marina animals. And I'm super excited to see The Trench. I want to read the books. I actually didn't know it was based off books until a few months ago. And I actually have them hold on to the library because I have to finish up something I'm watching from that I got from the library. But anyway, the Meg 2 is a movie I'm just so excited for, and I want to go watch it again in the 4X theater where the seats move, and because it was really fun watching the Meg in those theaters because the water spits on your face when the shark jumps in and out of water. You should try it. It's so much fun.
I remember
I've never
when
seen
you
a
watched
movie in
it.
for the 4DX or whatever format, but I've heard it's fun.
It's a lot of fun, especially because it has the like water bursts or like, and when they're in like a really tropical scene, or when you can see the air flowing, like it's making them look a little more dramatic. They'll like hit you with a little bit of air, so you like feel the cool air too. It was actually real enjoyable. So I'm super excited to see that film. There's not too many other things that I'm like putting on my list that I'm dying to see. Dungeons and Dragons, of course, and that just looks like a silly movie too. I'm looking forward to films, either horror films that are like I'm hoping will scare me, and then other movies that are just don't take it themselves so seriously, like the Barbie movie, like Dungeons and Dragons, where I can just go and enjoy it and have fun, and there's not these like multiple layers that I have to, pull back to find out the deep meaning of the story or something. I kind of just want to go for these movies that are like, this is for pure enjoyment. I'm gonna go enjoy these movies. Really hoping none of the actors do anything stupid from that time to their release, because I would like to just enjoy a film for once.
Listen,
Actors are making it real hard.
I'm not ready to, because I'm still gonna watch it, but I'm not. Well, I don't know if I'll watch it in theaters. I might wait till it goes on HBO Max. But I'm not ready for the shit show that is gonna be The Flash when it comes out.
Jesus Christ! The
Not.
fact that they're still releasing
They
that.
spent too much money. They can't write it off like they did Batgirl.
Do you think
Batgirl
it's
was a
gonna end
tax
up-
write-off. They could make most of their money back. They
I have
can't
a-
tax write off The Flash.
I
It's
have a
not
feeling-
possible.
I have a feeling HBO Max is going to disappear by December 2023 because the way they've been taking off shows, their highest rated shows, their like top movies,
Things-
whatever, they've just been like sabotaging themselves. So
Discovery is driving them into the ground. I'm worried
mhm.
because I got friends at Warner Brothers. I don't want them to fail. But it's out of their hands now. They're owned by a different company. So it's just,
I think it just will not end well to release that film. It will not.
I
end well
honestly
for them.
think they should have just cut
And I
their
don't-
losses and just dropped it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which Batgirl?
Because no,
Flash.
Flash.
I mean,
Oh.
Ezra Miller.
Batgirl
Literally,
too,
there's
but Flash. But Flash for
Batgirl
sure.
probably just needed a better budget. Ezra Miller, literally
Didn't
every
it have
time.
like over $200 million or something like that?
It was made
'Cause it's
for
like-
90. No, it was made for like 90 million.
Because it's officially the most expensive movie that's ever been like scrapped ever.
Yeah, they dropped it. It
A
was
lot
made
of
for 90
money.
million.
That is a
They
lot of
dropped
money.
it and wrote it as a tax write-off for 70 million and got their money back because their plan, like
I hate that. I wish they would have lost their money.
well,
No, for
because
real. None of this is real.
well, you know, I listen. That's their own fault. I'm gonna keep it real. I have friends in DC, and I'll still say this. It's it's their own fault because no one was coming to watch the Batgirl movie. I'm sorry.
But wasn't it
Not
going to
if
get
it's-
released on HBO Max?
Yeah,
So
to make
They
all of
coulda
no
hyped it-
money, like
they coulda
everything
hyped
else
it
they've
up
released
a
on
little
HBO
more.
Max.
They could have hyped it up a little more. They could have done something for it. Because I know there's people that would have seen the Batgirl movie. However, again,
somebody would have watched it, and
with
not that nobody
Ezra
would've watched
Miller,
it.
literally every time that man is in the headlines, it is something worse he has done. He
True.
keeps getting worse. So the fact that they're going to try to release that movie when God help them from here to release date, what else will be
Who
revealed
knows?
about Ezra Miller?
So-
Think about the winner. I do have one more film that I'm super excited for coming out. Star Trek 4.
If it comes out,
Fuck off.
like,
All
no, I am excited
No,
to
I
see
get
it.
it.
But
No,
it's just
let me
like,
have
they
my
keep
moment of
pushing
why
this
can't you
movie
just
through
let me have
hell.
why can't you just let me have my moment of happiness? Carl Urban finally signed on. All right. They got Bones. They got Chris Pine. They got everybody. Like, let me have like a second of happiness. Why must you
I just
always
said-
rail it? I'm excited and hopefully it does come out. If anything, it might at least start properly filming or something. But I am excited for the premise and the fact that more of the actors have signed on to solidify that it is going to possibly be made.
Mhm. You just gotta get Zoe, right? Isn't she the last one?
No,
We're
I
still
think
waiting
she I think they were actually waiting for her and Carl, but I think both have just officially signed on.
Okay.
So before it was gonna be scrapped because they couldn't get those two because she was doing.
Well, she's busy. She's got Avatar.
Yeah, I think it was
Guardians.
Avatar. She's back in. She's not in Guardians anymore.
Yeah, she's in Guardians 3.
Oh, she is. Thought she
Mhm.
was dead.
No, she. If you'd watched Endgame, she's come back to life.
Those are my excitements for 2023.
nice.
You got a lot of fun stuff planned for this year, though, audience. So you should
Yeah,
have a
I'm
lot of great
excited.
expectations
Just-
for episodes this year.
These episodes always get me, excited for the year to come in media. And I always look back on them and say, oh, remember when I was excited about this? Well, I shouldn't have been. Or I was rightfully, or you're validated in your excitement for whatever you're excited for. So
It's true.
yeah.
It's how you have the fun stuff like Malcolm and Marie, where it's like we have a history with that movie now because of these episodes. So.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And then there are those hidden gems. There are those things that you didn't even know that were coming out in the year, and they
It's
just pop
true.
up, and then you love them.
Bullet Train was definitely not on my expectations list. last
I
year.
know. I enjoyed
Yeah.
it far much more than I thought it was gonna be stupid. And I ended
I
up
didn't think it was
loving
going to be real. I was just every time I kept
I thought
seeing
it was gonna be stupid. I just was like, "This is." I don't know why why you guys are making me see this.
But
I
you
think
know
I
what'll
I
even
make
didn't
said
me
think
that
it was
say-
before.
going to
the-
be real because it looked like a Pepsi commercial.
It's especially just because every trailer always had the dude coming in exclusively at theaters and like in the summer. Like I'm like, why do you need to say that? Isn't that what the whole text is for? It just literally says exclusively in theaters. But you know what though? what'll make me feel good is as long as we go into the new year with Nicole Kidman once again selling me.
Why was I
to
thinking?
go to
I
the
was just
movie
thinking
theaters.
about that.
While I'm at the movie theaters telling me I should be at movie theaters, I will feel okay. That we should keep that forever. Like even if Nicole Kidman passes away, we should still just have Nicole Kidman in front of every movie. Just saying
Telling me at the movie theaters that I should be happy at the movie theaters.
that I'm at the movie theaters.
Experience. Go watch a movie. I am already here.
Well, socials. Jerome, where can we find you?
You can find me at not Jerome Rhett on Instagram, also at RoboZoo Media and at Jerome_the_show. This year, New Year's resolution, I'm actually putting stuff on those Instagram accounts because
Liar.
I'm sure I will do it, damn it. So there'll actually be a reason for you to follow those to see other stuff creatively I am working on. Alex, we'll go to you.
Where does that yawn? Thanks.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know that was coming.
I didn't know you were coming towards me. I'm at Alex and Nobody on Instagram and TikTok. Also on the TikTok where you can find our podcast, The First Ones to Die, where I put little clips, things we are reviewing ahead of time. So that's always fun to see. Follow us there. And what about you, Jasmine? Where are we finding our lovely fourth host?
So you can follow me at Jasmine Shiloh on, I think, everything, at least Instagram and Twitter. And if I accept your follow, that's how you know I got back on social media. So maybe in like June.
That can be your guys' expectation for 2023.
Yeah, Jasmine getting back on social media.
Yeah. And what about you, Jonathan? Where are we finding you?
You can follow me at Jonathan Keys on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you please. You can follow us at The First Ones to Die. Follow us, The First Ones to Die, on every platform. Email us, thefirstones2die@gmail.com. Give this video a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Give us a comment. Go ahead and give us 5 stars if you're listening to us through your favorite podcast platform. We would love to hear your feedback as well. Give us a review. All that good stuff going into the new year. We'd love to have you, on board with us for 2023. So
get some new subscribers going. And also, you could, I just mentioned, I'm gonna take a page out of Rob's book. You can also follow me on Venmo at Jerome Rhett. Just go ahead and, just send some Happy New Year's greetings over there. It doesn't have to be much. I'll take a 50-cent donation, just a little something. Just put that on, and if you could just put that on the Venmo account, that'd be fantastic. And if you need a reasoning under the what is it for, just 2 years of podcast goodness, just put that in there, and then yeah.
Hell, Alex and 224 is my Venmo. I'll get it in there. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Fine, damn it. Jonathan Keys. Okay.
Okay, I'll put my Venmo. I think it's Jasmine Shiloh.
I think mine is, I wasn't sure whether or not.
I'm pretty sure mine is.
I think that's like the default.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the default. Send us some love, y'all.
That's right. Send it in the form of monetary compensation. We don't have a Patreon yet, so
my hot chocolate's expensive.
It's true.
Cheddar needs stuff, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm a single mom.
And I want a new apartment. We've already established this.
You and your new apartment.
Need to save up money. All right, y'all can help a poor Black man in middle class in need today by sending just a quarter a day in Venmo. Lower middle class, at least.
So tune in next week. We will be reviewing The Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, if I'm correct. And that's all I can say for now. Happy New Year. Hope everything is what you guys expect it to be. Be safe. When you're out there, if you're going out for a celebration, be warm as well. And just
it will have been New Year's already, so
that's true.
That's true.
Well,
hopefully you're awake, like you survived.
Hopefully you had a happy New Year's Day.
Yes.
But after that, but anyway, thank you all for listening. We'll see you again next time.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Happy New Year.